to everybody. Why were they so connected to people? That's Ghislaine Maxwell. That's Ghislaine Maxwell. And if you see... Hold on. This guy has a Russian flag. This guy has a Russian flag. Mind you, Ghislaine Maxwell's father was in Mossad. Right? And so why were these normal people being treated like diplomats? What is this? They're being treated like royalty. Like royalty. This was so disappointing, y'all. This was so disappointing. This was so disappointing. Yeah. This was so disappointing. And I can tell you guys right now, I'm going to tell you right now that this is not the only shocker, by the way. This guy again. This guy again. Tell me this guy does not look like a creep. Tell me this guy does not look like a creep. All these people look like creeps. All of these people look like creeps. Again, another one. Look how redacted it is. How many people are they protecting with this? Why are they redacting all these photos? They all look like creeps, bro. All of them. It's like you just know by seeing their face that they're creepy. By the way, this is in what's it called? Sandringham Castle or something like that. That castle in the UK that belongs to like the Windsor Castle. So they were invited by, which by the way, it's like Balmoral. Thank you. Not Sandringham, Balmoral. Exactly. Which is a very exclusive place, by the way. It's really exclusive. Not everyone goes to Balmoral, by the way. People who only get special invites go to Balmoral. So why did they get a special invite? It is very exclusive, exactly. So, but they got an invite. Right? They're just having the time of their lives, you know? They're just having the time of their lives. And then, this is interesting. Do y'all recognize this person right here? Let me make it closer for you guys. Who is that person right here? Does anybody in the chat recognize him? No. That is Mr. I Don't Sweat Andrew. Mr. I Don't Sweat Andrew. The same man who said that he's not friends with Trump with Epstein. He doesn't meet up with Epstein. You know, he's like maybe met him like 4 times. Why did I find him multiple times in these photos? Multiple times. He's right here. No, it's very low resolution even on the photo because I had to zoom in heavily. So it's going to be very low resolution as well. Who's this? Too many people are having too much fun for me. While actively raping children. Got the red carpet. Why? Why are you giving the red carpet to people who are normal? Why are you giving the red carpet to people who are not politicians or presidents of countries or prime? And all these photos that are redacted, who are they protecting? And what's the point? Red carpet is symbolic, exactly. Shows you power, shows you importance. Who are these people protecting when they're redacting some of the imagery, but then not redacting some of the imagery? Who are all these people? No. These are not pictures of victims. So the perpetrators, allegedly. So all the perpetrators, allegedly. And they all, if you notice, they all have that look in their eyes. That dead look in their eyes. I don't know if you guys noticed this. They look soulless. If you pay attention to all the people, right? They all look soulless. And how could you not be soulless after committing these atrocities? Right? They all look soulless. By the way, I also found a what's it called? An email of somebody sending an email that they were in Kenya or whatever it is, telling them like, oh, should I get you 1 or 2 babies from here? So now I'm wondering, when they were going to these countries and traveling, how many kids did they also get from there? How many kids were they I will bring up that email. She said, where is she? She said something along the lines of, should I get you, how many little babies should I get you? 1 or 2? Or something like that. In the emails, just nonchalantly mentioning that. Right? This disappointed me so fucking much. Chris Tucker. Why is Chris Tucker in multiple of these photos? Why is Chris Tucker in a lot of these photos? Right? He's in a lot of these photos. Again, Clinton, of course, the usual suspect, as per usual, which I think he recently agreed to testify at the hearing or whatever it is, like an Epstein investigation hearing, I think. And we all know from the past that Clinton tells the truth, right? You know? I did not have sexual relations with that woman. We know that this man always tells the truth, right? But again, look at his eyes. I just wanted to clarify. Look at how soulless his eyes look. Tell me these eyes. This is one thing. When I was going through the photos, the one thing that really, really, really kind of impacted me was how soulless the eyes looked. Which I agree. Because if you had a soul, Chris Tucker again, if you had a soul, you wouldn't be committing these crimes. And why was Chris Tucker so good with any of these people? Instead of minding his business. Right? This is a devil photo. That's Kevin Spacey and Bill Clinton. Kevin Spacey and Bill Clinton. Which we all know Kevin Spacey himself is a P3DO. So the fact that both of them are on this photo together just goes to show you that this was literally like a P3DO meetup. Why is she in front of the Prime Minister's office? Because if you don't recognize this door, it's the Prime Minister's office in London. The British Prime Minister's office. Downing Street, exactly. So I'm asking again, why is a supposed quote-unquote normal woman able to have all this access to all these higher up positions? All these higher up positions, she's able to have access to them. Who are all these men? What I'm doing, by the way, is I'm going to start, maybe I can make a post about this, where I'm going to start reverse imaging their face and see if I can recognize them or if I can find a name for them. We know Kevin Spacey, we know Bill Clinton. I don't know who these two people are. A lot of the people, the problem is I don't know their names is because they're just normal billionaires. They're normal billionaires. They're people who are CEOs, people who are like corporation owners, right? And so that's what I'm going to be doing. Wait, somebody said this is David Cameron. No, he's not. Are you talking about the British Prime Minister, David Cameron? No, he's not. That's not him. That is not David Cameron, the British Prime Minister. But all these people, allegedly, by the way, Clinton sure loves Epstein, because why is he in a lot of these photos? Clinton got away with a lot of shit, I'm not gonna lie. Chris Tucker, man. Wait, hold on. Let me write this down. Chris Tucker, man. Three, 2, 8, 7. The fact that he's in these photos, I'm not gonna lie, I don't trust anybody who is in any vicinity of these people. Anybody who is in any vicinity of these people, I don't trust any of them. None of them. Because why are you in such close vicinity to multiple P3DOs? Right? Why are you in close proximity to multiple P3DOs? Isn't that the Colombian flag, if I'm not mistaken? What is that? Hold on. Yellow, blue, red. It's a Colombian flag, isn't it? Yeah, Colombian flag. Again, this woman who's a quote-unquote average woman who's a son of a Mossad agent is connected to Russian soldiers. She's connected to Colombian pilots. You know? Crazy, crazy, crazy. Also, I'm so sorry. This guy just had ugly ass clothes as well. I'm not gonna lie. Just everything was ugly. His P3Dophilia was ugly. Clothing ugly, everything ugly. everything. Terrible taste in everything. Terrible taste in everything. Look at this. The people saying, where's Trump? I literally had 2 lives about Trump specifically. I had 2 lives about Trump. Okay? We read a lot of stuff about Trump. They just look repulsive, I'm not gonna lie. Just look repulsive. Who is this person too? If anybody recognizes him. This guy looks like a guard. He has the ear thing. Bill Clinton, again. Bill Clinton again. Why is this man in so many photos? These are all in the Epstein files. These are photos that I got from the Epstein files, by the way. These are photos that I got from the Epstein files. Yes, it was Bill Clinton with a young girl. Thankfully, her face is redacted, but yeah. It's Diana Ross and Michael Jackson. And those are her kids as well. Like these 3 redacted faces are her kids. I don't know why she would bring her kids anywhere close to Bill Clinton or Epstein. No, this photo is not photoshopped. Every single photo I am showing here are photos that are on the DOJ database. Everything. None of the photos that I show you are photoshopped. None of them. Look what else I found. None of the photos I have shown you is edited. I just wanted to say this. Every single photo I am showing you is from the official DOJ database. I have not saved any of these photos from Twitter. I've not saved them from anywhere else. All of these photos I've directly saved from the Epstein files. So that's not something you can say. All of these photos, their numbers are at the bottom. Hold on, if you can see, right here, you see that? This is proof of authenticity. The numbers are at the bottom. You can literally find them there. I haven't taken any photo from Twitter. Hold on. 217371. Yeah. I'm sorry, to the people who are saying most of these are charity events, why are you associating with a P3DO? Why are you associating with a P3DO? I'm a bit confused at that one. Somebody said, associating with P3DO for charity? Are you okay? Are you guys okay? Are you listening to yourselves? You would associate with the P3DO for charity? P3DO. I don't want to say, I can't say the name because I don't want it to be taken down. All right? By the way, I don't like necessarily even think it was like a charity event per se, because they also went to his concert. A P3DO. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to say the full name because I don't want to get taken down. Chris Tucker again. Chris Tucker again. Bro, this is... Yes, it is scary. It's scary to see how they were just living their lives normally, traveling. And this is Brett, that's this guy I know. He's the Melania's director, Brett Ratner. Yep. This guy has multiple essay allegations against him too, by the way. Multiple essay allegations as well, by the way. This guy looks familiar. Is that only me, by the way, y'all? This person right here, he looked very familiar to me when I saw him. He looked very, very familiar. But I don't know, like, where I've seen him. That's why I'm gonna have a hard time trying to recognize him. Like, trying to basically, you know, identify him. Allegedly. All of this is alleged, by the way. But again, soulless eyes. Soulless eyes. Right? They look very similar too. All of these people have the same similar dead eyes. Same similar dead eyes. Right? Same similar dead eyes. This guy, isn't this the guy? Damn it, I forgot his name. He was saying he had no connection to Epstein, and he was debunked. I forgot his name. Forgot what his name was. Was it Rob Schneider? Oh, this is something I wanted to show you guys. Yesterday when we were talking about Prince Andrew, a lot of people were like, poor wife of his. Poor wife of his. Isn't this his wife? His ex-wife? She's also in the files. Right? His ex-wife is also in the files. Multiple times, by the way. Sarah Ferguson. Here she is, including with a young girl. Allegedly. She's right here. So for anyone who tried to say, oh no, she didn't know, she's innocent, she's not like Andrew, it's right here. Allegedly. Allegedly. 100% alleged. Right? So she definitely knew. So another photo. To the people who said AI photo, by the way. Do y'all see that? Look at that. That is a proof of authenticity. Look that up. Look up that number. As I just said, none of these photos that I'm showing are AI. These are all photos from the DOJ. All of them. Right? All of these photos are authentic. This one creeped me out. I'm sorry, this guy, his eyes are terrifying. This guy's eyes are terrifying. I don't know why I decided to take this photo on the floor. But these photos are very creepy. I don't know what location this is. Hey, Swan. But this seems like some kind of castle. That looks like it's in the UK, exactly. It looks like it's yeah. It's almost as if a lot of them look so similar. And then I did find, where is it? I found, hold on. Where is what I found? Give me a second. I found this. Wait, where is it? With respect to what I show on the live as well. I don't know why my camera is not focused, by the way. But it basically says here, hold on. Exactly, their pain is real and it shouldn't be just ridiculed, right? So I don't know why it's, okay, there we go. Now it's focusing. It says here, title Kenya. It's to Jeffrey Epstein from Peggy Siegel. On the plane with Maddie, we were about to take off for Amsterdam to Nairobi. We land the morning of the 19th in Amsterdam and late evening of the 19th in Nairobi. On Sunday morning, we fly into the bush to Quarters Camp in the Masai Mara, then to Sasab in 24th to 26th, then on the 26th to Lamu to Poponi Hotel, and back January 4th. We cannot thank you enough, yet another life experience. If the Maasai warriors don't eat us, the pirates from Somalia will. Coming to PB to see you in January, taking photos, will have a ball and think of you all the time. Can I bring a little baby back for you or two, boys or girls? Excuse me? Look what she says here. Can I bring a little baby back for you? Or two, boys or girls, so Madonna. Right? She's talking about bringing a baby back from Africa. She's talking about bringing a baby back from Africa. Hold on, let me write these EFTA. Yeah, thank you very much for 02731393. 02731433 02731361 and 02731341. Thank you. But yeah, no. It's crazy that she's asking about, hold on. Look at this as well. This was very disturbing. Look at this. This is a scrapbook that was made by a teen. You can see here the teen is in his hands. Hold on. You can see it right here. And then she says here, once upon a time, there was a clueless little girl. Then, what is he doing? He wouldn't. Oh no, this is just Epstein. And then she says, I met you, those eyes are blue, and the little teeth. There was a little girl. How do I look? I played the cards I was dealt. By the way, this is her saying this. I played the cards I was dealt. The plane flights. First Christmas. Oh my goodness. I will be the first. It's a scrapbook. Yes, I'm going through a scrapbook. Is my cover blown? What could this be? He has a leash on them. You see that? Do you guys see that? Is that a belt? Or is that a leash? Because he has one right here as well. You guys see that? That looks Balenciaga. I don't know what that is. Look at that. What is that? I think the mods are in here. I don't know what's going on. Josh is gone. The mods are in here. And grew. I beautified. I'm so sorry. This is so sick. This is actually so sick. He's actively not only graping the girls, but he's also actively depending on them to take care of him. How is he like a man in his 40s or 50s, and he's not only grooming the girls, he's not only using the girls as incubators, but he's also making the girls take care of him. Look at this one right here. You see that right there? See that right there? Hold on. She's putting a mask on him. She's putting literally a mask on his face. Right? It's like, exactly, servitude. Look at this. I beautified took care of you. Winky emoji. This is a scrapbook that was made by one of the survivors, by the way, who's also like a minor. Okay. This is a hi Shaky. This is a scrapbook that was made by one of the minors. Okay. This is why I'm saying this is actually disturbing. This is so disturbing. Could you imagine having to give your rapist a spa treatment? Exactly. Imagine having to give your rapist a spa treatment. Right? Imagine having to give before, after. Brazil, Czech milk, Prague, Berlin, Dubai, we traveled. So that means he actively took, and St. Barth's. That means he actively took her everywhere as well. I don't know where she's from, by the way. Usually when we look through these scrapbooks, who wrote the scrapbook is usually not like talked about. Of course not, because it's usually meant to like protect the victim sometimes. So who was doing the scrapbook, who was writing the journals is not usually talked about if there's any diary entries. You're the best. Oh, really? You're so sweet. That's her, by the way. She literally looks like a kid. So sorry. I like Prague. I know. I'm working on number 3. What does I'm working on number 3 mean? What does working on number 3 mean? A baby? So I'm not the only one who thought about that? So I'm not the only one who thought about that? We fought. Yes, there were other journals that we found where the girl was like 16 years old, I think, or 15 or 16, and she wrote multiple poems. Hi, Shabia. She wrote multiple poems about how she was pregnant to the point where, I mean, I read the journal like 3 days ago. She talked about how she was pregnant and how she had like three babies or something like that, and all those kids were taken away from her. So this isn't the first time, by the way. They were breeding babies, and not only that, I read the one email of the guy talking about the designer babies yesterday, where he was talking about creating like genetically superior quote unquote offspring. I don't know for what purpose. And then the other email where what's it called? Where they were talking about Nigerian women having the shortest birth interval. Y'all saw that, right? Y'all read that, right? When I read it yesterday. The email saying that Nigerian women have the shortest birth interval. As in, like, they can get pregnant quickly. They were saying that in the emails. For what purpose? I don't know. Why are they breeding people? Like, why are they breeding them? What are they doing with the babies? Are they selling the babies off for adoption? Are they eating the babies? Are they, like, I don't know what they're doing with the babies. Right? Then hugged. Or are they just grooming the baby so they can be future incubators as well? I don't know. Right? I don't know. What I do know, look at this. We laughed. 1 ham, please, no mustard, $8.99. Oi. What does it say? Word. Look at this. This is a young girl who's standing in front. Apparently she was probably nude, and that's why they redacted it. But then it says wrong side, as in like wrong side. The other side is better. Good job. Oh my, what's that? I will get you. Now you drive. Oh my God. (2007). So it looks like this journal was made in 2007. Who was redacted? The victim. So the victim who probably made this journal, who was an underage girl, is the one who's redacted, by the way. Oh my God. Why is he taking couple photos with a minor? Ugh. Why is he taking couple photos with a minor, bro? That's so sick. But also, I wanted to show you guys this, okay? This was from hold on. Let's see the original file, okay? Let's go to the Justice Department. It's funny that they ask me if I'm 18 years or older when the victims in this files are not even 18. So what did it say here? Hold on. Said, suicide bombers, by the way, are my example. Hold on. What was the exact thing that was written? That's the problem, by the way, the search. By the way, okay. By the way. Oh. There we go. So this is... This is an interview between Jeffrey and this guy called Richard. And they're talking about like the human body, right? They say you can play with the system and get a neuron to do something, but that's not how it works. You need the reserve, so its own source. Most of the work in virus and stuff that you do has almost no energy component. And that's not the issue, right? The issue that I have is when they reach this part. It says here, so we start off the same process with the viruses. Virus, cell, organisms. So you have this competition because now it's the organism that basically, it's in the organism's interest to turn down the survivability of the replicating cell, right? And the remarkable thing, I don't want to get too teleological at first approximation, all tumors appear after reproductive life. So you can either allocate, that's because it takes a really long time for a tumor to develop, or you could argue that there are mechanisms to prevent tumor formation until it's too late. And then it says here, if you go back to our first conversation with respect to Alexa and general relativity and frames of reference, you've come full circle. I think what happens is, while you might argue that there is no advantage to sort of stay alive past your reproductive cycle. As long as that, I'm not sure I believe that, says Richard. Jeffrey then says, Jeffrey's the one who says this. There's no advantage to stay alive past your reproductive cycle. Jeffrey then says, I'm saying even as a hypothesis, you'd have to then decide on what frame are you going to embed that answer. So if you're only thinking about cell life, yes, this probably makes little sense that once her ovaries are finished, for her to stay alive. Hold up. Let me read that again. I'm saying even as a hypothesis, you'd have to then decide in what frame are you going to embed that answer. So if you're only thinking about cell life, yes, it probably makes little sense that once her ovaries are finished for her to stay alive. This guy just sees women as incubators. He thinks that they have no point in living if they can't give birth. Unless the organism which you're describing is the society or the larger group in which she's embedded, she ends up being food. She can be eaten by others. So the longer there's food around, if she's prey, not necessarily if she's a predator, but if she's only prey, you want the prey to stay food for others. You want prey to stay alive. Again, let me read that. She ends up being food. She can be eaten by others. So the longer there's food around, if she's prey, not necessarily if she's a predator, but if she's only prey, you want the prey to stay food for others. You want prey to stay alive. That's much more, Richard says. That's the same with cannibalizing. Stay within a species and don't go outside the species for a moment. If there's cannibalism, then there may be some advantage for her to grow beyond her reproductive life. But not because what species, but if in fact the young, like the grandmothers, the idea of why they have grandmothers in the first place, if the idea that the women, the middle-aged women, are going to have to leave and get some food and the young are still in danger, then you have the grandmothers who keep the young going. So they're not necessarily for, I think the argument is again, which frame of reference. Right. So that's a societal selection. That's a population selection. And your friends think about this a lot. I don't know if you can separate it. The whole thing was the idea about cancer, is there a benefit? I'm sorry. The fact that they're sitting here talking about people, about women, to me is crazy. Right? To me, it's actually crazy. It's deeply, deeply disturbing that they're even sitting here saying these things. Deeply disturbing. What does this say? So this is from... Yes, it's more than just Epstein, by the way. This is more than just Epstein. This is every single person who was his assistant, every single person who basically made it possible for him to get access to these survivors. Every single person. Just wanted to say that. Everyone. So this is from Geoffrey Berman, who's an attorney, by the way. He's talking about Epstein interview updates. If people want to read them, you literally just go to justice.gov/Epstein and you'll be taken to a library. You scroll down, you'll see Epstein libraries. And then you just type in whatever you want and you look for the emails. All we wanted to give you a rundown of all the interviews we have done in the last 2 weeks, and 2, where we stand with some of the employees' potential co-conspirators. Descriptions are below. Number 1, employee 1 in indictment. We gave a reverse pro-offer to Redacted last week and she's weighing whether to come in. Employee 2 in indictment. We will receive an attorney pre-offer. Pre-offer from Redacted attorneys next week. Employee 3 in indictment. We interviewed her in Florida and learned the following. Redacted met Epstein around 2004 while in her early 20s through the modeling community. Around December 2004, Epstein offered Redacted a job working as an assistant, which she accepted and maintained until early 2006. Her responsibilities included running errands and scheduling massages and other appointments. According to Redacted, Epstein expected to have 2 massages every day. We know what a massage is. We know in this case what a massage is, and he was having 2 massages every day, which means he was essaying 2 minors every day. He was massaging 2 minors every day, right? Epstein expected to have 2 massages every day, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. Redacted and Redacted were responsible for coordinating the Palm Beach massages, and Redacted was responsible for coordinating the New York massages. At some point, Epstein and Redacted began having sexual encounters, but Redacted was very distressed when discussing these incidents and was not prepared to describe them in detail during our first meeting. The team believes these encounters may have been coercive, and or non-consensual. At least some of these encounters involved Redacted herself providing Epstein with his massages when they were in the Virgin Islands. As a result, Redacted was aware that his massages were sexual. Redacted described how Epstein had 2 groups of girls who provided massages in his homes. One group was of professional masseuses who gave actual massages to Epstein's friends, and the second group consisted of young girls who were not professional masseuses and who only gave massages to Epstein. Redacted recalled certain details that signaled that girls in the second group were minors. For example, she was asked to help find SAT prep courses for one girl. And she recalled girls mentioning school and their parents. Where are the parents? This is something I've been asking myself this whole time. Thank you, Vengeful. Where are the parents? Genuine question. Where are the parents? Were the parents getting paid? Hello, Vengeful. You requested, so I definitely wanted to let you up. What did you
I appreciate you so much. Because that question, where are the parents, is like you said, yeah, there are. See, here's the thing: is it's nuanced in the sense that there's many avenues for these rich and powerful men to procure their children. You know, you can see whether it is in the teenage modeling agencies, you know, and things like that, international kids being trafficked. But you also have to think about the parents here who do get paid. And no one believes that. It seems so outrageous. Why would a parent do that to their child? But here we go, and now we're seeing it finally because the kids have been speaking out forever about this. And parents will get paid, but we have to remember America, part of our economic system is based upon the trafficking of children through things like adoption and foster care, the troubled teen industry. CPS takes kids away from parents all the time. Kids disappear all the time. The kids in cages, where do you think all those kids have disappeared to? This is what we've been screaming for decades, some of us. And people do not want to take it seriously. And I do want to say real quick, while you have 1.2 thousand people in this room as a survivor, I so appreciate you doing this. I know a lot of people are out here trying to read these files, but it takes someone like you with the care and concern. And I know how hard it is for you to do this and how triggering it can be. So I appreciate you so very much. I know I can't stay here all that often to hear it all, but it really means a lot. You take this shit seriously. And I know survivors really appreciate you doing this, your voice doing this. Sorry.
No problem, Vengeful. Thank you so much for coming up as per usual. You always are. Welcome on my panel, and I am so sorry that was done to you as well, Vengeful. Yeah.
The whole point of people like me speaking out and being forward facing has always been to stop this from happening to other children. It is never. Well, no, part of it is, I'll say I'm a vengeful survivor. Part of it is we want justice, of course. But because so many of us understand there is no justice in the American justice system for white men and rich white men and the privileged, and those who present them white presenting rich men and women that allow this to happen, that marry these men and know facts. But I want to keep on topic. The problem is the men. So sorry. I didn't mean to vent like that.
No. It's okay. It's perfectly fine.
But it's about stopping this from other kids, and the fact that this is not a thought process in every other person's head in this country, in Israel, in this whole entire web, international web, France, UK, all colonizing countries. Anyways, but this is to stop it from happening, and we never can, but we know that. We know we won't get justice, so maybe we can get the world to see how evil these are. And I sent you a message the other day, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it here because I want people to know. The scariest thing from these men of power, like Senator George Mitchell and State Senator Bill Diamond, that's my experience. So, but I'm telling you, this is the experience of the men that abused me. It's not so much the SA for them. It's the ability to test their limits on torturing and hurting children. The joy in their eyes and their faces when they cut or burn or strangle you is different. This is the evil that so many women and children have been speaking about, and how and so many marginalized communities that have been colonized and oppressed by these people have been screaming that they're doing across the globe to other children in Africa and the Middle East. They've been doing it here. Now you're seeing it. They've been screaming it. We've been screaming it. Y'all didn't pay attention. You should pay attention. You need to witness this, bear witness, and feel this. And look at your kids. And then look at your partner and your husband and your boyfriend and your father and your uncle and your cousin. And hold them accountable. because there's many in your community that do this because of these men. It's time to hold them accountable. Not just the rich and powerful, the people around you that have been doing this too, and let it happen by being silent. So sorry, thank you. I'm going to let you continue. Thank you so much.
Don't apologize. Thank you, Vengeful, for coming up and.
I just really appreciate you the way you're doing this.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I appreciate you too, Vengeful.
And please don't gift me, guys. Just know anything gifts you guys, we'll go to Gaza or Sudan. Just appreciate that. But it's going to go to them.
I appreciate it.
I'll drop. I'll let you get back into it. Thank you, Cubby, so much.
Thank you, Vengeful. Wow. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Vengeful, you are seen. You are valued. I believe you. And don't ever apologize for coming up on my panel and talking about your experience genuinely. Don't ever apologize. Your voice matters. Your perspective matters. And I know I'm only reading these files, but we value you, and we value your perspective, and we are so glad that you are even here. That you are here, that you're alive. Can we put white hearts in the chat to show Vengeful how much we support him? And also to many of the other survivors who might be watching this and they might be doing this in secret. Look at all that support you're getting, Vengeful. Just know that we all support you and any other survivor who is watching this in silence, who has maybe found their abuser in these files, who was a victim of this. We appreciate you, Vengeful, and any other person as well. Just know that. Yeah, folks. This is why it's so important to discuss this, folks. This is precisely why it's so important to discuss these things, folks, because then it kind of helps you understand, right? It helps you understand why a lot of these politicians don't give a shit about the genocides that are happening in Palestine, in Sudan, in Congo, right? It makes sense because they don't even care about their own kids. They don't care about their own kids. If they are willing to do this to the kids within their own country, within their own community, why does anybody think that they're going to care about kids abroad or kids elsewhere? Why do they think they would care about kids elsewhere? Right? So, number one, that. And number two, I hope this validates and legitimizes and encourages any survivor who probably kept any abuse to themselves because they felt like they would never be believed. Okay? I hope this validates. I hope this legitimizes. I hope this basically illustrates to all survivors who kept it to themselves because they believed they thought that they wouldn't be believed, or they were ashamed, or they felt guilty, or they blamed themselves, or they just thought, I'll just get over it. It was my fault, or whatever it is, right? No, Vengeful, I didn't. If you want to come talk about it, you can definitely come up and talk about your panel. My panel is open to you. Right? So just wanted to say that. Anyways, if you want to come up and talk about the unredacted victims. By the way, that's what they said. They said that they removed some of the files because it included unredacted victims, and eventually wanted to say something about that.
Yes, thank you so much. Sorry, I'm crying like good tears, so thank you. No, but I know you haven't talked about that yet, and you will get to it, but I think it's extremely important right now. And with 1,000 people in here, I think everyone really needs to understand those 43 victims that were left unredacted on this drop was done on purpose. There was no mistake in that, none whatsoever. That is a threat to them, because they're in danger. They're not only did they share like nudes of them as minors, but their addresses and their names, their real legal names and their addresses. MAGA is crazy and violent. They will do anything to protect their leader. Do you know how much danger these brave survivors that through all threats, through all bribes, have stood firm against these monsters? And there was no mistake. And this is what they do. If you speak up against them, if they can't get you money-wise and scare you, they'll make sure someone else will get to you. They'll release everything. They'll make sure your life is over. These people it needs to end. It needs to end. I am terrified for those survivors, and you all should be. If anyone knows, is in those people's areas, because now that the public can protect them, who knows them, you need to speak out. This is I can't tell you how disappointed I am that this was not the first immediate thing that the media and those that matter did not just immediately be like, these women are in danger. What the fuck? Pam Bondi and all these people, they should be in prison. They should be more than that.
Yeah.
And this is what they will do. You're watching in real time how their playbook. And it's terrifying. It should terrify every single one of you. No one is safe. We've been telling you this. Sorry. I'll drop. I just wanted to say that because these survivors need to be spoken about. They need to be protected.
100%.
Think about how many survivors have, quote unquote, unalived themselves. Mm-hmm. They don't do that. We don't do that. Virginia did not do that. I stand on that. And I stand on they do this on purpose, and none of you should be fooled. And thank you for letting me say that.
Thank you, Vengeful. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Anybody in this live, if you feel like you're getting triggered by this, please protect your peace. 100% protect your peace if you're feeling triggered by this. Thank you so much, Vengeful. I appreciate you so much for even coming up and sharing a part of your story. And please take care of yourselves. Protect yourselves, please. You're amazing, Vengeful. Thank you. I wanted to continue reading this, right? As well. I want to continue reading this part, right? Let's read this part. It says here, she herself was providing massages, right? Herself providing Epstein with his massages when they were in the Virgin Islands. As a result, Redacted was aware that his massages were sexual. And he was receiving 2 massages a day. Who was giving him those sexual massages a day? Right? Redacted described how Epstein had 2 groups of girls who provided massages in his homes. One group was of professional masseuses who gave actual massages to Epstein's friends, and the second group consisted of young girls who were not professional masseuses and who only gave massages to Epstein. Redacted recalled certain details that signaled that girls in the second group were minors. For example, she was asked to help find SAT prep courses for one girl, and she recalled girls mentioning school and their parents. However, at first pro-offer, she stopped short of acknowledging that she knew they were minors. Ghislaine Maxwell, friend, former girlfriend, alleged to be involved in recruiting. The team met with her attorneys last week, and she is assessing whether to proffer with us. Redacted. Sexual partners involved in massages may be an abuse victim, has retained counsel, and they've asked for a week or so to speak with her before evaluating how to proceed. Redacted recalled that things changed dramatically during his last 2 years at residence. Epstein became increasingly demanding, and staff were told not to speak to Epstein or his guests, to avoid eye contact, and to leave the room when he entered. Redacted recalled that towards the end of his tenure, 3 young girls came by the house. Redacted, and a third girl. He believed that Redacted was under 18 and was giving Epstein massages, although he did not know what this entailed. During this period, Redacted was responsible for scheduling Epstein's frequent appointments with professional masseuses. During the last several weeks of his employment, Redacted was hired as Epstein's personal assistant and began taking over answering Epstein's phones. At the very end of his tenure, Redacted told Epstein that he should slow down, that these girls would get him in trouble. Wow, so these girls are going to get him in trouble, not his actions. Not his actions. Epstein remarked that it was fine and that these girls only care about money. When Redacted left Epstein's employment, Epstein told him, "I hope you keep your mouth shut." Redacted retained Redacted, which is going to give us an attorney proffer. New York victims. Redacted victimized beginning in 2001 when she was approximately 14 years old. Recruited by an unidentified woman, outside her school on the Upper East Side. So they're going to schools to recruit people. Provided nude massages to Epstein over approximately a year, each time for $300 each in cash. In fall 2002, hold on, I need more mods. Give me a second. Okay. Hopefully we get it. Hopefully, my mods are on it, by the way. I just wanted to say it can be a lot. It can be a lot because there are a lot of people here and the chat is going crazy. That's why, please, but my mods are going to be on it. So in fall 2002, while Redacted was massaging Epstein, he asked Redacted without her consent, and Redacted without her consent did what? No, the black tribe is not racist. Hold on. I don't know what's happening with the black tribe, but without her consent. What did he ask her? Like, this is the issue that I have, in that a lot of the people who are what's going on? Yes, Swan.
Hey, I only come up. So the Black tribe he's not FBA, he's Caribbean, but what he's talking about, y'all, is white supremacy, and there is white supremacy tied into this. And Black people cannot be racist. Like, white women shouldn't be correcting him, telling him to stop talking about white supremacy. He's not talking about y'all, like, as an individual. He's just talking about white supremacy and how white supremacy has harmed Black people and non-white people. Y'all gotta relax. But yeah, that's all he's doing.
When he's saying don't come back to my island, he's talking about the fact that on the Virgin Islands is where Epstein was. He's from the Caribbean. That's what he's talking about. Thank you, Santana, for the raid, by the way. I appreciate you. But thank you, Swan, for coming up.
Yeah, Johnny.
While we're at it, please like the live, share the live, y'all. If you do want to support me for this labor as well, because there's a lot of labor, especially during, Black people's labor is not free, especially during Black History Month. So you can definitely support me. The pay link is also in the bio. And yes, I have a lot of files to go through. Or you can just give me, or you can just like and subscribe, or you can follow as well. Because I'm going to live again tomorrow. Redacted, no, hold on. Where was I? Oh, here. Okay. Without her consent. The issue that I have with these files, by the way, is that they, number one, so as you heard from before, thank you, Santana, for the raid, they don't really protect the victims, the 43 victims who were just posted unredacted with their address and all those different things, allegedly. But they protect the perpetrator. Why are they protecting the perpetrator? Right? That is something I don't understand. Thank you, Santana. W. Santana. Why do they protect the perpetrator? They are not only redacting the perpetrator's names, their emails, their addresses, but also at the same time, they're protecting what Epstein did. Right? So here it's saying, while redacted, that's the victim, was massaging Epstein, he asked redacted and redacted without her consent. What did he ask without her consent? Why are they protecting the victim? I'm so confused. Why are they protecting the perpetrator? Sorry, is what I meant. They're protecting the victimizer. What did Epstein ask of her without her consent? And redacted. This is not protecting the victims. Exactly. These releases, which is just like 1%, by the way, 1% of the files, this was just used as a pacifier. This was used as a pacifier. Like to pacify people, to shut them up, people who are asking for the Epstein files. Gave Epstein, okay, so this is, where was I? Wait, why do I not know what I'm reading? I didn't read the New York, provided nude massages to Epstein over approximately a year, each time for $300 in cash, redacted without her consent. Redacted gave Epstein massages at the Manhattan mansion on 2 occasions, during which Epstein redacted. She recalled that Epstein told her, "You look so young." She brought a 19-year-old friend to Epstein's house to give a massage and recalls Epstein telling her not, oh my God. Oh my God. Do you see that? She recalled that Epstein told her, "You look so young." She brought a 19-year-old friend to Epstein's house to give a massage and recalls Epstein telling her not to bring her again because she was too old. She was too old. He said 19 was too old for him. Florida victims. I just made the sticker smaller, by the way. Florida victims. Redacted victimized once in 2002 at the Florida estate. During the massage, Epstein redacted. She recruited one other minor girl to give Epstein a massage. She had to so basically it's like a pyramid scheme, you know? Like he was recruiting girls and then he asked them to be recruited. By the way, this is something that I noticed too. I don't know if the women here noticed that or the femmes. When I was 14, 15, I used to get a lot of attention from much older men. And then the moment I started getting older, I stopped getting attention from older men. Then it was more attention from like men, like guys my age. But when I was 14, 15, I was getting a lot of attention from much, much older men. Right? So this isn't something that is just out of the ordinary. This is something that even I've seen and I've experienced as well. Right? I'll never forget the day when I was like 16 or 17. And I had a what's it called? A job, like a vacation job that I had where I went to this farm, right? And I was like working there, and this older gentleman, this older summer job, exactly. This older gentleman, he was like over 50. He was like 60. He had all gray hair. His whole hair was gray. He was the owner of the farm. Yeah, he actively was talking about his fantasies with me. And I'm a 16, 17-year-old. I look young now already, and I'm an adult, right? But back then I looked really young. And he was talking to me about his sexual fantasies with black women. I'm not going to go into detail about the stuff that he said, because the stuff that he said was really, really, really disgusting. But he randomly came to me, and he was over 60 easily. And he was talking about his sexual fantasies with black women. He's an old white man. Right? And I was just there for a summer job. So this is what I mean by, this is not something that's out of the ordinary. Unfortunately, this isn't even something that's surprising. What's crazy to me is how people just cover it up. How these people can literally unalive people and cover it up. Right? She recruited one other minor girl to give Epstein a massage. Redacted gave Epstein at least 2 massages in the early 2000s at the age of 16 or 17. During the first, Epstein redacted. The second involved more extensive abuse, which she was not yet prepared to describe during the first interview. Redacted gave Epstein massages twice in the early 2000s at the Florida estate, during which he, Redacted, has reservations about testifying. Redacted recruited by a friend at the age of 13 or 14. Oh my God. All these girls are so young. Purple, that's a good question. Why are the actions being redacted? Like, why are they protecting literally a dead perpetrator? Epstein is not alive, like, you know? So why are they protecting a dead perpetrator? No, Obama is not in the files. Not as far as I've seen. but I'm still going to be looking for it all. Recruited by a friend at the age of 13 or 14 in the early 2000s while living in a trailer park in Palm Beach. Wait, what? Oh, yes, Tapley, 100%. Please do come up. Yes. You were here a couple of weeks ago, I think, and you do deep dives in the Epstein files.
Yes, hi. It's so nice to meet you, Covey. And as a matter of fact, I've been watching your lives for days, and you've been doing remarkable work. And it's so important that there are creators like you, kind of just instructing users in real time how to parse through these files. You, a contact of yours tried to bat signal me over a few days, but I was very low on time. But and in fact, I can't even really stay today. I saw you on. I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. And I don't know if you've heard, but we've been planning a big live this evening that I'm going to be doing at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm choosing to do it on a Canadian server because they have full free speech. You don't really get restrictions there, and you don't have to talk like a baby. So I wanted to try and come up and say hi and invite you to the live and let your audience hear that it's going to happen. A lot of people have been asking it of me for days, so tonight's going to be part one for sure.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. I just followed you back, by the way. Please do send me the invite, and I will definitely try to come over.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll put up something in my story in just a little while, and you'll see what what user account it will be on. All I ask is that, and listen, I'm not up here trying to grift off of you, I promise. And in most circumstances, would never come up and try and promo myself on someone else's live. But I want as many eyes on this as possible. I wanted to come up, say hey, and I beg of your audience to please shoot me a follow so you know where to find us tonight. And I've been working really hard for all of you since last July. This is a full-time job for me. Not only do I know quite well the files as you see them, but I work from the outside in, and I know a lot of things outside of the files firsthand. So I have a lot to say, and you're definitely gonna want to hear it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you.
Of course, tonight, by the way, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Once you follow me, you will see on my story where to go. Okay. Till then, Covey, thank you so much. And everybody, please gift the shit out of this woman. She's been doing the Lord's work every single day and impressing the hell out of me from a distance. And you keep going, Covey. Don't you stop doing this. And you already know it's gonna take weeks, if not months, to get through this stuff.
Exactly. 100%.
So don't burn out.
Yeah. Thank you. Right? Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Covey. Have a great day. I appreciate you.
You too. Bye. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad that more people are talking about it, by the way. Thank you for all the gifts. I'm glad that more people are talking about it. So yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm going to also be doing more deep dives into the individuals, right? So after we've done, I'm writing down the people who are involved. And I'm going to be doing a deep dive into individual people. I think that's very important. So we can see how connected they are, the network that they've built, how deeply connected they are, the networks that they've built, which governments they're involved with, if they have prior convictions. 2009. I think somebody said it was Bibi Netanyahu. went on like a state visit. Yeah, there we go. See? Literally went on a state, probably to Netanyahu. Because if you see here, it says Saturday, April 25th, 2009. I'm in China. Nope, he was not in China for the meeting. But yeah. So, this is allegedly though, by the way. Let's go back to reading what we were reading, okay? Let's go back to reading what we were reading. It says here, is this one, I think. Estimates that she may have brought as, okay, recruited by a friend at age 13 or 14 in the early 2000s while living in a trailer park in Palm Beach. Over a period of approximately 3 years, gave numerous massages to Epstein at the Palm Beach residence. Epstein, redacted, estimates that she may have brought as many as 100 underage girls. 100 underage girls to Epstein, to Epstein's house for massages. During the Florida investigation, she was represented by an attorney paid by Epstein. Now, what Epstein used to do is, yesterday we read the file of a girl that Epstein brutally essayed, and basically after a couple of days the girl felt like she had no other choice but to find him a new girl because she didn't want to get essayed by him anymore, raped by him anymore. And so basically what he does is he puts these girls in a position where they get groomed and graped to a point where they want to prevent getting graped. And so they bring him other victims, which is just, in my opinion, so incredibly sick. Right? So yesterday we read the story of a girl who did that. Florida victim who met with the team to discuss the status of the case indicated that she wished to cooperate with the investigation, but she was not prepared to discuss her experiences with Epstein that day. First met with Epstein through her older sister in 2007 while Epstein was being investigated at the age of 17. Epstein specifically redacted her age, and told her in substance that they could not interact until she turned 18. After her 18th birthday, Epstein began having redacted give him massages. You know that he only said this because he was getting investigated, right? Not because, which even saying that you want to wait until they're 18 is creepy within itself. Right? But the fact that he's saying, oh, now I want to wait until you're 18 is because he was actively being investigated, not because he actively cared about whatever it is. Right? Thank you so much for the gifts, by the way. I appreciate y'all. Epstein began having redacted give him massages, during which redacted, again, the action is still grooming, 100%. The action, because grooming doesn't have an age, by the way. Redacted, again, the actions are being redacted. A short time later, Epstein took Mrs. Redacted and her sister on a trip to his private island in the Virgin Islands. During that trip, Epstein redacted. Between 2007 and 2009, Epstein redacted. The first few were non-consensual. Again, they're protecting a dead... you can't read it. I tried it. They redacted it well this time. You can't copy and paste. They're covering for a dead perpetrator. Right? The first few were non-consensual. When Epstein was serving his jail sentence in Palm Beach, Redacted visited him at his office on at least one occasion and engaged in sexual conduct with him. In or around 2013, Epstein paid Redacted $10,000 to marry a girl whom Epstein wanted to be able to stay in the U.S. The two were married for Redacted, then divorced. So he married somebody. Redacted, in the early 2000s, when Miss Redacted was 17 years old and working as a model, she was invited to Epstein's house by Redacted, a 19-year-old model who was Epstein's girlfriend at the time. Oh my God. Epstein gave Redacted cash to go shopping, and they purchased underwear together at the mall. They returned to Epstein's house, and Epstein asked Redacted to try on the underwear for him. Redacted felt as though she could not say no and complied. That same weekend, Redacted invited Redacted to come to Epstein's house to receive a massage from a masseuse. She was told Epstein would not be there, so she agreed. Shortly after Redacted undressed for the massage, the masseuse left the room and Epstein entered. So she was told, come to this place. Epstein is not going to be there, because she felt creepy around Epstein. And once she undressed to get a massage, the masseuse left and Epstein entered the room. So they tricked her into that position. And she was 17 years old. He insisted that Redacted, so that he could show her, oh my God, so that he could show her what he had learned from a chiropractor about adjustments. Epstein then Redacted, but did not touch her chest. After this experience, she refused to return to the house. Y'all, do you understand how sick this is? Like, actually sick? Look at the redacteds on this. There, it's smaller now. Sorry to ask, but can you guys put together brief, few sentences, maybe more, for redacted summaries of the interviews you did last week? In addition, can you provide any information on other victims who have reached out and we expect to interview soon? Putting together an overall summary for Brass. Thank you. Sure. By when do you need it? We don't have 302s back from the agent yet, and we didn't take separate set of notes for ourselves, so if you need this quickly, we can't be particularly detailed. Does not need to be very detailed. If you could by Thursday would be great. So then they send him this. Guys, I filled in summaries for the interviews I attended. Would you please fill in the ones that you guys attended, know the details of? Redacted as interviewed in 2001 when Miss Redacted was approximately 14 years old. Another young woman, identity unknown, the woman, befriended her outside her school. Again, school. After they became friends, the woman invited her to Epstein's house. In subsequent meetings over approximately a year, Miss Redacted was enticed to provide nude massages and was paid $300 cash each time. In fall 2002, while Miss Redacted was massaging Epstein, he asked her to redact. Again, why is his actions being protected? Why are the things that he did being protected? Right? Why is he being protected? Redacted was interviewed, in 2002 when Redacted was 14 years old. Her friend recruited her to give Epstein a massage at his Palm Beach house, during which Epstein touched Redacted. Again. Touched what? No, they don't. They don't usually, because we've been reading a lot of crimes against minors. We've been reading the crimes against minors in a lot of these files. That's not why they're redacting it. They're hiding something. They're covering for somebody. So, asked Redacted whether he wants counsel, told Redacted could have an attorney appointed if he could not afford one. Redacted said he did not feel he needed or wanted a lawyer. J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, received between 2 to 4 massages every day. 4? So at some point, he was assaulting 4 girls a day? How many thousands of victims does this man have? If he's been doing this, yes, I'll post all these lives to YouTube. If he has been doing this for decades, how many thousands of girls has he assaulted? J.E. received between 2 to 4 massages every day when he was in Palm Beach. J.E.'s massage appointments were set up through his assistants, Redacted. Redacted received a phone call from assistants that people were coming at certain time to give J.E. massages. When person rang doorbell, Redacted let her in. Most of the time they waited in the kitchen. Redacted waited until Redacted showed up and took person up to massage room. Who are these people? Who is Redacted who take the people up to the massage room? Who are the assistants who schedule the appointments? All of them. All of them need to be named and shamed and held accountable. Because they actively enabled and facilitated in the graping and essaying of these minors. Redacted showed up and took person up to massage room. Redacted did not recall answering phone calls where people said they wanted to give a massage. People who came to give J.E. massage did not wear uniforms. They wore casual clothes, jeans, t-shirts, sneakers, and sweatpants. People giving massages were female. They were not professional, trained masseuses. They did not show up with equipment to give massage. Redacted saw females waiting outside house. Redacted thought they were waiting for someone to pick them up after a massage. Redacted sometimes saw females walking to ring doorbell. Most of the time heard doorbell and let females in. Sometimes more than one female came at a time. Redacted remembers one time when 2 girls came. One girl waited in the kitchen and one went upstairs. Redacted doesn't remember what the girls looked like. The 2 girls seemed like friends, came together and left together after a certain period of time. They were young girls, high school age. Impression was they were young, under 20 years old. Redacted understood that all the girls coming to give masseuses were schoolgirls. Schoolgirls! Redacted impression was that all the girls coming for appointments were high school girls. Redacted sometimes heard the girls talk about school, does not know what grade they were in. Redacted overheard girls talking about soccer games, Time to go to classes. Redacted doesn't remember which classes. Redacted started seeing schoolgirls at the PB house within a few days of when Redacted started working there. Schoolgirls! So people asking me to redact it, unredacted, I can't. I've tried. Tried to copy and paste. I can't. So that was towards one of the staff. So what I did was, by the way, I decided to look up the word massage. So are all the other photos? Oh, of course. Pretty sure there are girls in these photos. Yeah. Look at this. Look at all of this. Hold on. Let me... Let me save this so we can get a better look. How do you do this? Here we go. Okay. Okay, see that? Those photos. There's somebody here with them. These are girls on either side. Look at that. These are girls on either side. Girl here. That's Brett Ratner, exactly. That's Brett Ratner. Continue tapping, y'all. Can we get to like 300K? There's Brett Ratner. Look at that. Yes, that's the director of Melania's documentary. Look, see? Look at the girls. I know it's like bad resolution, but these are the girls. You see that? Here's more. There are more people. There are more people. These are all the girls. See? Right here. And right here, this girl looks really young. See that? This girl here looks really young. Right here. You see how uncomfortable she looks? Look at that. Wait, they're saying that Brett Ratner said that this is his fiancée? Is that what you guys are saying? Is he engaged to a child? Is he engaged to a child? And why does his fiancée look uncomfortable? Why does his fiance look uncomfortable? Okay, I'll check it out. Why does his fiance look uncomfortable if that's his actual fiance, y'all? Why does she look uncomfortable? Look at her. She looks very uncomfortable to be there. She does not look like... He's basically like, looks like he's like, you know? She just looks very uncomfortable. He's still holding on to her. Like... That is not a fiance. Listen. That is not a fiance. This man is flat out lying to everybody. That is not his fiance. That does not look like a person who's his fiance. At all. At all. Look at all these pictures, bro. So many girls in these photos. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Hold on. Hold on. Can somebody send me the video of his? Where he's talking about it? Or can I just find it on YouTube? Does this look like an adult to you? Right here? I was holding his hand in the pool. Do these girls literally look like adults to you? Come on. These are kids. These are literal kids. Literal kids. Look at this. Literal kids. That looks like a young child. Their thumbnails, yes. Wait, hold on. This is a child, y'all. Her body is tiny. This is a child. Yes, they're grainy because they are thumbnails. They're not like actual published photos. They're just thumbnails. This is a child. He literally has to, like, this is a child, y'all. That is a little girl. Oh my god. Oh my god. Y'all. Y'all, this is... I don't even know what to say at this point. Like, I literally don't even know what to say at this point. Wait, hold on. What does it say? CSAM not scanned. Which was, there was CSAM that they found. They're saying CSAM not scanned. Which ones they had the CSAM. Exactly, Bella. That's my point. Now imagine what they didn't scan and what they didn't publish yet. CSAM is basically child, like, essay material. That's what CSAM is. Child essay material. 004180226. So child essay material. Material where a child is being essayed, or a material where a child is nude or something like that. And they're saying CSAM not, like, scanned. Which means how many stuff did they upload? Or how many stuff didn't they upload? Is my question. Oh. Ha! Ha! Do y'all see what name that is? Do y'all see what name that is? Do y'all see what name that is? Clinton. Fucking Clinton. Clinton is on that CD. Now, what is on that CD? Because it says here, item not scanned. They didn't scan these items. So what is in that CD? It says Clinton and then Africa. That's what it says. Clinton and then Africa. Again, CSAM not scanned. You see how many times I have to say CSAM not scanned? 18 thumbnails? What is happening? But these girls look young too. This is disgusting. Oh, Kevin Spacey is here. Kevin Spacey is here. Interesting. Disgusting, disgusting people. Disgusting people, genuinely. I do want to look up the files that you guys gave me. So that's what I'm going to do now. Let me look up the files that you guys gave me. So EFTA 00143 287. Okay, this is the first file. And then the second one was EFTA 00153942. Oh, no results found. So they deleted this. EFTA 02731393. Okay. 02731433. So I'm just like looking through the files that you guys sent over. 0273136 1. Zero 2731341. Your blood family. What the hell? What is that? What the fuck is that? 00217371. This is 0021. Oh, 73, 71. Oh, this one came up, okay. And then 0041 8T26. Okay. Let's see. What the fuck is this? What am I reading? What is this? So this person, I don't know who this person is. Quite shocked, actually. I thought we were holding all the Epstein rapists, P3DOs and accomplices responsible. Trump, that was part of your campaign. Does Georgia Meloni not know about what's happening and who David Bowles is and what he does to victims of rape and trafficking? 20 girls are going to have to testify. Please, can someone ask redacted? Actually, why has no organization come to our aid? So weird, a P3DO ring so big where children and young women have been raped, tortured physically and mentally, and not one person has offered to assist. I don't know what this is. This is apparently an email that was sent. It's like a long ass email. It's like, please, Elon, can you also explain to everyone why you and your other mate, Sergey Brin, were both subpoenaed in the big P3DO and sex trafficking ring with JP Morgan? Oh, who's Sergey Brin? I can't wait to go through Elon's files, by the way. Why are you deflect? So this was like a back and forth. When was this sent? From somebody to all these people who are redacted, by the way. And it is saying SOS Mum, Emergency Keir Starmer, Mum's House, Italy, Elon, Putin, Hunger Games, UN headquarters, emergency wine testing, and lunch booking 7th of January. And it was sent in 2025. January the 5th, 2025 is when it was sent. Keir and Rishi, how dare you intimidate? Okay, so these are the chancellors. Oh, what is this? Oh my God. This is another journal, y'all. Okay, hold on. Another journal. Let me save this immediately. I think I read this one. This one we read together. Yeah, this one we read together. Exactly. This one we already read together. But I'm still saving it. This one was also read together. It's another journal. This one actually we didn't read. We are blood family. Oh, this girl wrote many journals. Okay. What is this? Transportation charges, special handling, 426. Okay, this is apparently sorry. I'm so sorry, y'all. My bad. I'm so sorry. Yeah. These are the receipts. 426, 418. Is what he was paying the girls? I'll save this too. This is what he was paying the girls. Richard Saul Warman. I want to see who this guy is. Huh! American architect, author, information, and graphic designer. Warman has written, designed, and published over 90... He created TED conferences. He created TED conferences. You know the TED Talks that we listen to? The TED Talks that we listen to? The guy who created TED Talks is on here. What is he saying? Hold on. So he says, any thoughts, lunch next Thursday? Oh, here. He's typing with Leslie Groff, who I think is an assistant. Jeffrey is available for lunch on Thursday. Does 12:30 work for you at his home, 9 East 71st Street between 5th and Madison? Any thoughts? Lunch next Thursday. So then he says, okay, I'll be there. Then she says, Richard, could we change your lunchtime with Jeffrey on Thursday to 1 p.m.? Then he says, tremendous. Thanks so much. See you then on March the 12th, 2012. So this was after his first conviction, by the way. So Jeffrey was convicted the first time in 2008, and he went to Jeffrey's house. Yes, I'm keeping a list of the names. Did somebody say Gisellen had a TED Talk? No way. You're kidding. Jelaine, sorry, not Gisellen. You're kidding. Did she actually have a TED Talk? She did. She did have a TED Talk.
I noticed that my speech today was leveraging technology to create a global ocean community. I'm going to change that on you, and I'm going to leverage technology to create a new country. Now, I know I speak with a funny accent, and so yes, I did say country, not company. So, with that, I'm the founder of an internet project called the Terramar Project. It's an ocean-based digital platform which I'm going to be talking to you about. I just want to go back briefly to talk to you about why I got involved in the ocean, and because I think it's important to have history. So I started diving when I was 9, having become passionate about the ocean, watching Jacques Cousteau on TV. And it led to a lifelong exploration around the ocean that ultimately ended with me becoming a deep worker submersible pilot. On one of my first submarine dives, I was absolutely so excited. I thought, my goodness, I'm going to see a new sea creature. I'm going to be this amazing explorer. And off I was. I went down into the deep, and I went down to over 1,500 feet. And at 1,500 feet, I switched on the lights, hoping to see a new myth.
So she had a TED Talk. Huh. So she had a TED Talk. No wonder. It's interesting that she said she wanted to create a country.
Fresh revelations about the former Prince Andrew have been found in the huge batch of Epstein files released last week.
By the way, S3. How many people do you think they were spying on? Do you think they were just spying on people? Do you think they were just trying to get people's information? And for what purpose? For whom? Why were they trying to get people's information? What was the purpose of it all? Were they using it as leverage, political leverage, blackmail? Was Epstein hired by the boss? Because they're talking about the boss, right? Who was the boss? Who was the boss? But this is also a new clip, by the way, about Prince Andrew, or former Andrew.
The former Prince Andrew.
Remember the photo that he was saying is not real? He was saying, oh yeah, this is fake. That's what he said he doesn't think it was his hand. He wasn't really sure. He really wasn't sure, is what he was saying. Right? So this is episode about that.
Have been found in the huge batch of Epstein files released last week. Among them is an email apparently from Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, which appears to contradict Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's long-held suggestion that the now infamous photo of him with the victim, Virginia Giuffre, was not real. There are also new allegations about what went on at Epstein's Florida home 20 years ago. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has always denied any wrongdoing. Here's Ellie Price, and a warning: her report contains some fairly explicit details.
This is the image that marks the start of the slow downfall of a prince. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor with his accuser Virginia Giuffre when she was 17.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
But he did meet her, and according to an email from Ghislaine Maxwell to Jeffrey Epstein, she wanted to state for the record as fact, in 2001 she was in London and met a number of friends, including the former prince, and that's when the photo was taken. But
wait, hold on. She says, in 2001, I was in London when Redacted met a number of friends of mine, including Prince Andrew. A photograph was taken as I imagined she wanted to show it to friends and family. First of all, I like, how they're calling her a woman. She was not a woman. She was a teen. She was a girl. And second of all, this confirms it. Ghislaine is literally talking about the photograph in her emails. The photograph that Andrew yesterday was saying he doesn't recall.
Fresh damaging revelations. This time a legal letter which claims Epstein offered to pay an exotic dancer to perform at a party in 2006. where there were young women dressed provocatively. Some appeared to be as young as 14 years old. It says Epstein and the then Prince Andrew told the dancer they wanted to have a threesome.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. This is sick. Some of the girls looked 14 and they were sitting there saying that they wanted to have threesomes with them?
Dancer to perform at a party in 2006, where there were young women dressed provocatively. Some appeared to be as young as 14 years old. It says Epstein and the then Prince Andrew told the dancer they wanted to have a threesome and then prevailed upon her to engage in various sex acts. The BBC has approached Andrew Mountbatten Windsor for comment. He has previously strenuously denied any wrongdoing. It's all added to calls for him to testify in the US about what he knew about Epstein.
I am so proud of the woman who has come forward because it helps so many of us when survivors come forward, to hold these men accountable. The survivors are they're the foundation of it. Without us.
Yes, Andrew is, we read yesterday an email where somebody was talking about Andrew unaliving somebody. So, yeah.
Nothing's going to happen. So, I do hope that Andrew will testify. I do hope he will come to the US and testify.
Buckingham Palace has previously said that's a matter for him and his conscience. But if a picture paints 1,000
Wait. Did you hear that? Did you guys hear that? She said, I hope he testifies. And what did Buckingham Palace say? Which message exchange? What did Buckingham Palace say?
And testify.
Buckingham Palace has previously said that's a matter for him and his conscience.
That's a matter for him and his conscience. Excuse me? That's a matter for him and his conscience?
But if a picture paints 1,000 words, there have been just too many pictures for the palace to bear. These, recently released in the Epstein files, showing the king's brother crouching on all fours over an unidentified woman.
Yes, Anne.
And then these, the former prince out riding in the grounds near his Windsor mansion and later waving at passers-by on Monday. He's had to move into temporary digs there, Wood Farm, while renovations are completed on his new, more modest home, Marsh Farm. On the king's private estate, he may be out of the public eye, but the public humiliation may keep coming. Ellie Price, BBC News.
Well, Ellie is here in the studio with me. And Ellie, I guess, the royal family are thinking or hoping that he's moved out of Royal Lodge and therefore he can now move out of the public eye and people can start moving on. How realistic is that assumption?
Well, I think relatively realistic for them. I suppose we'll see less of him. He had all those photos taken, as you saw in my piece there, where he's out riding his horse. He was out waving at people in his car. This is a far more secluded estate. It's a private estate owned by the king. I think there's a sense that there'll be it's a slightly more controllable environment, and therefore the photographers' lenses won't be prying quite so much, or at least they won't be able to. But he was becoming something of a liability because he kept appearing, not only in public, but also in these files. Now, these files are going to keep coming. There's 3 million of them. Obviously, he's not in all of them, and we don't know how many of he's in. That's sort of the point. But I think there is a sense from Buckingham Palace that he needed to move. We knew when he lost his titles back in October that he was going to move house. We just didn't know when. And I think we can probably surmise by the fact that the residence isn't quite ready yet, that this was brought forward earlier than it would have been.
And in terms of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and those files, can we ever expect Andrew Mountbatten Windsor to appear before some sort of justice court or committee in the US?
Well, that's certainly obviously what victims are calling for, as again you saw in the report there. And obviously efforts were made back in the early 2020s for that to happen. The option was given for him to voluntarily go and testify. That never quite happened. Obviously then COVID happened, and there's no jurisdiction of a US court to call him. So it is very much, as Buckingham Palace said.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Shelby. Yes. You said you had an email? Mm-hmm.
Yes, I just found out that they are drawing up an impeachment for Pam Bondi because one of the constraints for releasing the files was that all of the victims were supposed to be redacted and all of the abusers were supposed to be able to be seen. So if they end up impeaching her, then they're going to release all 6 million files.
Okay, that's good.
So I just was like, oh my God, I have to go. Thank
you so much. That's actually good. That's actually good information news. But I don't know if Trump would even allow that. I'm not gonna lie. But yes, that's actually good news. Hopefully it goes through. You know.
I hope so too. But I'm sorry. I was just like, oh my God, let me go tell her real quick. Because so much, I think I've been so upset about the fact that they just redacted the wrong things, and so I was like, oh my God.
100%. Okay. Yeah, they didn't redact a lot of the victims, but they redacted the perpetrators. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. But sorry, continue. I will continue watching, and I'll see you in the comments.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's continue.
Quite whether he does go, remains to be seen. But obviously there is this pressure ongoing with every revelation that comes out almost on a daily basis. Of course, I should reiterate, he does continuously, strenuously deny any wrongdoing, and just by associating with Epstein, he would argue is not necessarily, any sign of wrongdoing. But clearly, the pressure remains.
And there's that photo of the former Prince Andrew with Virginia Giuffre that you mentioned in your piece as well, where he is seen with her, and the emails from G. Maxwell apparently appear to suggest that this photo is real, because he said in an interview, didn't he, with the BBC,
that's right,
the photo was fake.
The photo, quite iconic, isn't it, really? It's almost the start of his downfall, that he was standing there with his accuser, the 17-year-old Virginia Giuffre, and he said at the time, or he said subsequently, that he had no recollection of the photo being taken. He even suggested that the photo may have been doctored. And yet we had this email in 2015 from Ghislaine Maxwell to Jeffrey Epstein, which was titled Draft Statement, where it appeared she was planning to make some kind of setting the record straight statement. She appears to say that the photo was indeed taken, and it was taken when he visited her friends in London.
Okay.
What did Trump say about the Epstein files, by the way? Which, by the way, what did we learn from this, by the way? What did we learn from this? We learned that they potentially don't have any intentions of holding people. They don't have any intentions of holding people accountable. That's what this says. Right? That is literally what this says. What I understood out of the comments that the Buckingham Palace made. But what did Trump say about this again? Hold on.
Have you ever had a person?
Hold on.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so, because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that.
There's a lot of phony stuff, he said. Right?
Much as I do the others.
What an odd thing to say.
Hold on.
I didn't know you were going to be talking about this.
Mr. President, the other day a reporter asked you about Ghislaine Maxwell. You said, quote, "I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well, whatever it is." Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well?
I don't know that, but I do know that
she has. She's been arrested for that.
Her friend or boyfriend,
Epstein,
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish you well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, you know that.
Oh, so you're saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And they took that and
I mean, she's
made
a
it
child, alleged child sex trafficker.
big deal. But all it is
Wait, did he say big deal to that?
I mean, she's a child, alleged child sex trafficker.
big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died. He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide? I do. I wish her well.
Sure. Your memo and release yesterday with Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape?
Yeah, sure. If I
Could I just interrupt for a second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Crazy. But also, somebody was telling me to check out what Ted Cruz said. Hold on. It was something that Ted Cruz apparently said. Was it yesterday? Hold on.
Keeps on happening.
Okay, let's put this big screen. So this was yesterday, I think.
And tragically, this pattern keeps on happening. Now, Senator Booker also said we should have bipartisan agreement. I think that's a great idea. We should have bipartisan agreement. How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders? How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles? And tragically...
Wait, what? This was months ago. Wait, did I hear that right?
This pattern keeps on happening. Now, Senator Booker also said we should have bipartisan agreement. I think that's a great idea. We should have bipartisan agreement. How about we all come together and say, let's stop murders? How about we all come together and say, let's stop rape? How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
Excuse me? Is he saying justice for P3DOs now? Allegedly? Huh. Wow. Wow.
The Epstein files fallout once again spreading across the Atlantic to the UK. Britain's former ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson, is resigning from the upper house of Parliament over his ties to the late sex offender. Even more stunning, one British royal is calling out another. Prince Edward did not directly mention his older brother Andrew, who has been...
Oh, the British ex-ambassador to the US was also involved.
Stripped of his royal title over his Epstein ties, but listen to Edward's comments to CNN at a summit today.
I'm not sure this is the audience that is probably the least bit interested in that. So they all came here to listen to my education solving the future. But no, I think...
I'm so sorry. He said this is not the audience to be listening about children getting raped by his brother, Andrew. This is Andrew's brother, by the way. Every audience should be listening to that.
I'm not sure this is the audience that is probably the least bit interested in that. So they all came here to listen to about education solving the future.
So where are they, by the way? Look at that. You see that on top? Do you see that on top where they are? United Arab Emirates. Yeah, boycott the United Arab Emirates, by the way. The United Arab Emirates is currently doing a genocide in Sudan. They need to receive more hate than they already do. I just wanted to say that. I wanted to take this time to say, boycott the UAE. The UAE is actively, literally participating in a genocide in Sudan. Okay? Anyways.
But no, I think it's already important always to remember the victims and who are the victims in all this.
Andrew is facing more scrutiny after the latest document drop revealed this photo of him on the floor with an unidentified woman or girl. And the photographs at this point do not suggest any wrongdoing.
They don't suggest wrongdoing. She looks like a minor who is unconscious.
Andrew has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, but obviously a lot of questions raised here. CNN royal correspondent Max Foster is with us now from London. Max, give us the latest on the fallout where you are.
Well, we've got lots of reports about Sarah Ferguson, Prince Andrew's ex-wife, but they were living together for a very long time, and she had lots of relationships with Epstein as well, coming out through these files. So, for example, she's talking about not having 20,000.
Epstein gave Sarah Ferguson. I'm also gonna dissect her her files later on, because Epstein did give her money. Apparently, allegedly, he gave her money. So
Pounds for rent. She was desperate to get hold of that. So a very deep relationship there, much bigger than we thought. Here in the UK, the focus is much more on the former UK ambassador to the US, Peter Mandelson, because that has really roller coasted to death. Initially, we heard a statement from the Speaker of the House. He read out a statement effectively from Peter Mandelson, who's a member of the House of Lords. Let's just have a listen to that.
oh my god, not the ad, y'all. Okay.
My lords, given the public interest and for the convenience of the House, I've decided to inform the House that the Clerk of the Parliament has today received notification from Lord Mandelson of his intention to retire from the House, effective from 4th February. I will formally notify this to the House tomorrow in the usual way.
There is a person in the chat saying they didn't. There is 100% evidence. This isn't even an open secret. There are multiple reports that are done not only by the United Nations, but by other organizations as well. In the month of October 2025, when the RSF took over El Fasher and they decided to proceed and unalive 60,000 people at minimum in 3 fucking weeks, to the point where we could see blood from space, the UAE sent 57 cargo planes worth of weapons. In that one single month, 57 cargo planes worth of weapons to the RSF. There is an active RSF camp that is being built in Western Ethiopia with the help of the UAE. There is an RSF camp in Kufra in Libya, and Chad was also helping through Amjad Ras Airport. So boycott the UAE. This isn't an open secret, by the way. This is actively something that has been recognized and acknowledged by organizations. The RSF is the Rapid Support Forces, the proxy of the UAE currently in Sudan, that is genociding Sudanese people. I'm so sorry that I'm pausing this, by the way, but I saw that there was a G-side denier in the chat. So let me take the time to show this, because I don't want the G-side of Sudanese people to be dismissed in my chat. This was the footage from space. Y'all see the blood from space? That's what the RSF and the UAE did. Look at all the blood from space. Imagine genociding so many people in such a short time, like time span, that you can see the blood from space. This happened within 3 weeks, where at least 60,000 people were killed. And the UAE is doing this, by the way. So, just wanted to say, boycott. This is why I always say boycott the UAE. The same amount of heat that Israel is getting, the UAE should be getting, because the shit that they're doing in Sudan is really, really fucked up and disgusting. Just wanted to say that. But anyways, let's continue with the Epstein files.
So he leaves the House of... In the extraordinary move, the Prime Minister has introduced legislation tonight calling for his title to be stripped from him too. Why? This is because there were correspondence in the Epstein files between Epstein and Mandelson, which suggests that Mandelson, as business secretary under Prime Minister Gordon Brown, was leaking internal government information, market-sensitive information, which Epstein could have used to make money, effectively. And the government launched an investigation, very quickly found correspondence which they were alarmed about. They've sent that to the police. Gordon Brown sent correspondence to the police as well. And tonight, in the last half hour, we've heard the British police are now investigating Peter Mandelson, the first criminal investigation coming out of this latest drop of Epstein files.
That is quite the bombshell. Max Foster, thank you so much for the latest there. Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have reached a deal to testify in the House investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. The agreement means they will avoid a contempt of Congress vote. Sources telling CNN the Clintons will be deposed on February 26th and 27th, but they've added a new twist. They want to answer the Oversight Committee's questions in a public hearing. It's not clear if the Republican chair, Congressman James Comer, will accept that request. President Clinton has never been accused of any wrongdoing with Epstein, and his spokesman has said...
I'm so sorry. Again, President Clinton hasn't been doing any wrongdoing. Are you kidding me? Why was he in the files? Also, why did that kid accuse Clinton of sodomizing him? It's crazy. The way that the ultra-rich can just flat out gaslight you. They can flat out gaslight you in your face. He was accused of doing something. Now the thing is, why do we know this, chat? We know this because we have been reading the emails and the files. Now, had it been people who were not reading the files and they were just listening to this report, they would say, oh yeah, he's not accused of anything. Right? Like, had people only been reading this, had people not been reading this, and just watching this, they would think, oh yeah, he wasn't accused of anything. But this is why it's so important to do your research as well, to do the research yourself. They said the Epstein files, go through the Epstein files. Because had you not gone through the Epstein files, you wouldn't have realized that there was, in fact, a child who claimed that he was sodomized by Bill Clinton.
President Clinton has never been accused of any wrongdoing with Epstein, and his spokesman has said Clinton denies knowing of Epstein's crimes and cut off their relationship before they came to light. Last night, the Deputy Attorney General once again signaled there will likely be no further criminal charges stemming from the Epstein files.
There will be no further criminal charges stemming from the Epstein files. So what happens to the perpetrators? The perpetrators on a global scale, they just get away with everything. That's what they're saying. They get away with cannibalizing people. They get away with raping children. They get away with violating people. They get away with unaliving people. Why? Why did they get away with that? Cannibalizing? Yes. The same child who said that he was sodomized by Bill Clinton said that he was on a yacht where he saw babies being cannibalized.
But it is not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein. And so as horrible as it's not a crime to email with Mr. Epstein.
Oh my God. Why are they partying with Epstein? Why are they partying with Epstein then?
But it is not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein. And so as horrible as it's not a crime to email with Mr. Epstein. And some of these men may have done horrible things. And if we have evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But it's also the kind of thing that the American people need to understand, that it isn't a crime to party with Mr. Epstein.
Let's bring in Sarah Fitzpatrick of The Atlantic, an investigative reporter who has covered Jeffrey Epstein extensively. And just first, what is your reaction there to what we heard from Todd Blanche, and what are survivors telling you about it?
I mean, I think it's really hard to square what Todd Blanche is saying there versus what he has spent money on for the Justice Department, of taking hundreds and hundreds of attorneys to review these documents, to work overtime. Like, if there's likely to be no charges, why was there such a huge commitment of resources that have been pulled away from other violent crimes and other things that are in desperate need of law enforcement attention?
He says it's not a crime to party with Epstein. It's not a crime to email with him. That's certainly true. But you've heard critics of what he's saying say it's very curious to party with Epstein or ask to go to his island or email with him after you know that he is a convicted pedophile. And that raises a lot of questions, and the DOJ should be more interested in investigating that. So where does that leave things, and why aren't they?
I think it's a very curious question that we have never gotten a good answer to. This investigation, unfortunately, has been mishandled by multiple administrations, both Democratic and Republican, at the local level and at the federal level. And so what I think it reflects is the Trump DOJ kind of came in that we're going to release these files, we're going to get to the bottom of this. And now we're seeing that there have been as far as we can tell, no major law enforcement steps taken. For example, the Clintons, I was talking to sources who have said, no, the Clintons have never been questioned by law enforcement, which, of course, you need probable cause. You need, certain steps need to be met before you would bring someone in for questioning. But it suggests a kind of lack of interest and a lack of following all of those leads. Anyone who, especially because Epstein was charged, and Maxwell were charged with trafficking, which means the moving of people for the purpose of sex. Anyone who was at these parties, who had knowledge of their whereabouts, how communications were done, how the planning was, they have material information that would be important to investigators. So it just suggests that they don't.
Does the chat think that people are not interested? Because I don't think they're not interested. I think they just are not doing it to cover things up. That's what I think. I think saying that they're not interested is not necessarily an accurate way of putting it. I think on a global scale, the reason as to why people are not investigating it or not holding people accountable is not because they're not interested, but because they want to cover it up. That's why. They're covering it up. Your average detective, your average special agent was probably told, don't do this.
This was never really about getting answers, and especially answers that might not reflect well on the Justice Department.
So what should lawmakers be interested in learning from the Clintons?
I think there's a lot to be learned about, Epstein's behavior, his confidence, how he responded to allegations, questions about even how he made his money. One of the things that has been so frustrating for me as an investigative reporter is up until these files were released over the weekend, it was very unclear what Jeffrey Epstein did all day. Now I have a better sense, which is email a lot, and cultivate this network very deliberately. But I think there's anyone who was in his orbit, who understood who was involved, who may have had knowledge, that's all relevant information. It doesn't mean that they were aware of criminality, but it means that they have insight that might bring investigators towards people that did.
And then on this issue of redactions, there is a hearing tomorrow, and you have lawyers for victims saying, yeah, our victims sort of trusted DOJ to have all of these files put out, but you put out these files with a ton of their personal information in it. It was a failure of DOJ. What's going to happen with the files and with what they're asking for?
It's unclear. So there'll be a hearing tomorrow in New York, and a judge will hear arguments from lawyers for the victims as well as representatives from the government. I think it would be quite extraordinary to take down this volume of information once it has already been disseminated. I think there's not a lot of great legal precedent for that.
By the way, we did see a photo of Bill Clinton with a young girl on his lap in this live, like an hour ago. So the fact that they're saying he wasn't charged. This video is from yesterday. So we literally did the hot tub one, exactly. So we did see those photos. I don't know why they're pretending like they're not there. We did see those photos. So now I want to go to, where is that? There was a journal here that I had. Here. So this is a journal of a victim. And I want to read through it because I really, really want to hear from the victims, okay? That's what she says. So sorry, Jeffrey. These things happen when your body had never been given time to properly heal. So it came out in the toilet and I didn't know what to do. So I just flushed the tiny little fetus. Oh my God. She had a stillbirth in the toilet. Had a miscarriage. It's a minor, by the way. So it came out in the toilet and I didn't know what to do. So I just flushed the tiny little fetus. You have made me numb and I hate you for this. I hope I never have to see you again. I am not your personal incubator. Where is the baby? Where is Jelaine? This is a journal from one of the victims, by the way. Hold on, let me age verify this. And let me download it before they delete it. Okay, it's downloaded. Right? It says death. Blend in. Hate this city. Trigger warning, by the way. Blend in. The toll of reporting on human anguish on misery's trail. I blamed her for everything, but she didn't answer. I couldn't understand her stupid behavior. When I hit her, she held still like a true pacifist. Then I realized what she wanted was for me to love her. She began to warm up and I saw her advantages. Without me, she wouldn't exist, so of course she was grateful. I gave her a soul. I bloomed out of her as a rose blooms out of a vase of not very valuable porcelain, and it was I who attracted everybody's attention, not her whiteness and beauty, as I had first supposed. I patronized her a little, and she lapped it up. You could tell almost at once she had a slave mentality. I didn't mind her waiting on me, and she adored it. In the morning, she woke me early, reflecting the sun from her amazingly white torso, and I couldn't help but notice her tidiness and her calmness and her patience. She humored my weakness like the best of nurses, holding my bones in place so they would mend properly. In time, our relationship grew more intense. She stopped fitting me so closely and seemed offish. I felt her criticizing me in spite of herself, as if my habits offended her in some way. She let in the drafts and became more and more absent-minded, and my skin itched and flaked away in soft pieces. Simply because she looked after me so badly, then I saw what the trouble was. She thought she was immortal. She wanted to leave me. She thought she was superior, and I'd been keeping her in the dark, and she was resentful, wasting her days waiting on half a corpse. What? Wasting her days waiting on half a corpse, and secretly she began to hope I'd die. Then she could cover my mouth and eyes, or cover me entirely, and wear my painted face the way a mummy case wears the face of a pharaoh, though it's made of mud and water. I wasn't in any position to get rid of her. She'd supported me for so long. I was quite limp. I had even forgotten how to walk or sit. Background photo of a courtroom with words, "Our stand, you should never be here alone. He should." Yeah, this is a clipping, by the way. This isn't her writing. It's a clipping of a poem that she resonated with. Here, see? You should never be alone. Our stand. He should. Through a child's eyes, protect the vanishing children. What I wanted was a place where dreams did not stop at dawn. Flashbacks. I won't let pain keep me from surviving in the danger zone. Background photos of New York City and quote, "Who could have predicted this? I should have. So sad this city could be beautiful if it weren't filled with monsters. The blood from Leon is no longer there." Leon is Leon Black, by the way. Okay. Let's talk about Leon Black. Tomorrow is the halfway ultrasound for, oh my God. An ultrasound, another ultrasound. How many babies did she have? Oh my God, how many babies did she have, bro? Tomorrow is the halfway ultrasound for Jeffrey. This one stuck. After they took the first baby who survived and the early miscarriage, I think it was called "I no longer feel like a person, but a vessel." She's literally saying she no longer feels like a person, but a vessel. Will they take this one too? Who has the first one? Where did Jelaine go? She is never around. I can't let myself get attached. I'm not old or mature enough, or even in the place to have a baby that I would be responsible for. I'm not even able to focus on anything other than hiding this again. I had to go to eating disorder treatment prior to being in this situation again and missed the entire fall semester of school. I am so very exhausted. My body feels so tired. Will I ever be free? I'm such a monster. I didn't console her. I can't unhear her screams. They haunt me. I couldn't even bring myself to look at her. I'm a monster. I deserve to be haunted by her screams. I'm so sorry. I'm so broken. It's an ultrasound. It's an ultrasound. It's the face of a baby, all. There. And then she says here, I'm so sorry. I am so broken. The father was Epstein, yes. Epstein was the one who's impregnating her, by the way. Epstein was the one who's impregnating her. And she says she deserves to be haunted by her screams. She thinks she is at fault. She thinks she is at fault. Actually, I'm not too sure if this baby is Leon's, allegedly, because in one of the poems she says when she's lying down with Jelaine and Jeffrey that they have their hand or their baby inside me. That's what she says. Their baby inside me. That's what she says. So I think this person was 16, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, that's the last page. 16 or 13, I'm not sure. Basically a minor. Yeah. And then I do want to show you this clip, which is of the Epstein survivor. By the way, do y'all notice he has a type? Remember in one of the poems, she also said, is it my skin color, is it my hair color, or is it my eye color? That he was trying to create the perfect offspring because he was into eugenics. So that's also something that's very interesting, right? By the way, if y'all want to support me, as per usual, my pay link is in my bio. You can also like and share the live. You can follow me as well, because I'm also going to go live again tomorrow. And then you can also subscribe to me because this is a lot of labor, emotional, mental, physical labor to go through these files, to read these files as well. Just wanted to say that. So if you guys want to support, that would be cool.
I was systematically recruited, trafficked across this great nation.
We were groomed, we were manipulated, and we were taken advantage of. We will not stop or give up.
So these are some of the victims as adults. So this is them telling their stories and experiences that they've experienced as minors. So, yeah.
We will not stop or give up, and we will be on the front lines of this battle.
At this point, up to this day, with the current administration's reaction to the Epstein case. No one is satisfied.
History is watching, and so are the women who will come after us.
We matter now. We are here today, and we are speaking, and we are not going to stop speaking.
I'm Lindsay Davis here on Capitol Hill, where today Jeffrey Epstein accusers and survivors talk very publicly about their very private stories. We are here to talk to them and hear what they'd like to see happen now.
To those in power, hear us clearly. Do your job.
Survivors asking lawmakers to unseal files related to the federal investigation into Epstein, a convicted sex offender who died in jail in 2019.
Epstein was not just a serial predator. He was an international human trafficker.
Standing shoulder to shoulder in solidarity with a simple goal of justice and the truth exposed.
Transparency is justice. Release the...
No, this is not a video from the files. So what I did was I've been reading a lot of their journals, and I've been reading a lot of the emails, and I feel like sometimes one story is a tragedy, but then 1,000 becomes a statistic. And so the way that I run my lives usually is that I not only tell you guys the statistics and the facts of the matter, but I also want to give a face and a name to the people that we're talking about. Because once you have a face, when you have a name, when you see that person in front of you, they're not as abstract as an email or as a number anymore, right? So this is just how I tend to run my lives generally, in that I actively, it's probably my leg, sorry. I fidget a lot when I get really nervous. So it's my leg is tapping because I'm fidgeting. My bad, y'all. But yeah, so I actively try to put a face to it so it doesn't stay as abstract, right? You have to have a face to it, a name to it.
Files. And this...
I have really bad anxiety too. So I have really bad anxiety, and that's why I do it.
Secrecy, and stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law.
From Florida to New Mexico to New York City, even the UK. These brave women say they were exploited by Epstein all over the globe, But their unifying mission brings them together here in the nation's capital with a group of lawmakers.
We're here not as partisans, we're here as patriots. I hope my colleagues are watching this press conference. I want them to think, what if this was your sister? What if this was your daughter? This is not a hoax. This is real. There are real survivors. There are real victims to this criminal enterprise. And the perpetrators are being protected because they're rich and powerful and political donors to the establishment here in Washington, D.C.
Marina Lacerda is one of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers. She was listed as minor victim number 1 in the 2019 Epstein indictment.
I'm so sorry. How could you look at this girl and think of her in any, like... Do you know how disturbing that is? You know how disturbing that is? She looks like a baby. She literally looks like a baby.
It's so hard to begin to heal knowing that there are people out there who know more about my abuse than I do. Today, I stand here with the women who have really helped me to find the strength to come out and come forward to share my story for the very first time.
She has never been publicly identified and never spoken publicly until now. Let's go back, and forgive me because I'm going to try to ask you some of these things from the past that you may not remember. But let's just start with your childhood. I know you were born in Brazil, then you moved to Astoria.
Yes.
And what was your upbringing like?
In Brazil, it was great. I really had a great experience from 1 until 8. I came to New York when I was 9 years old. My mother came before me. I stayed in Brazil for a year or so. I later on came, but when I came, my mother had met my stepfather at the time. And I would say, I don't know, 2-3 months after that, I started to get sexually abused by my stepfather.
Oh my God.
From 8 till 13 or 12, it really sucked my life. Like I really hated that time.
I'm so sorry. This is the issue that I have. Do you see the levels of abuse? First her stepfather, and then Epstein. And then all the other people who participated in that as well. Do you see the levels of abuse?
Top of that, there were financial constraints.
After my stepfather left and got arrested, and my mom couldn't get a job or whatever the case was, so I started working. And I think that's what kind of led me to Jeffrey Epstein. You know, a girl saw me that, you know, I was struggling and I needed to make meets ends. And she was like, hey, like, I have a gig for you.
What did she say the gig was?
She had said that, you know, I was going to massage somebody. But I wasn't expecting what led on to that day.
She was the perfect vulnerable child to be targeted. She was an immigrant. She was being essayed by her stepfather, and she was poor, so she needed work.
You? At the time?
I just turned 14.
Mm-hmm. After you went the first time, you gave the massage. Who gives you $300?
The first time, the girl did. He handed it to her, and she gave it to me. I went there a couple more times with her, but then I decided then I went on my own because he asked me to come by myself.
He would call you directly?
Wait, hold on. It's me. Let me clarify. Yes, all children are vulnerable and need protection, but there are different types of vulnerabilities that predators target. Predators are going to target a child who probably doesn't have people to protect it. Maybe the child has deadbeat parents. Maybe the child has poor parents who are way too busy at work that they can't give their children full attention. Maybe the child has parents who are just shitty parents who are willing to sell their children, right? So there are specific criteria that predators, kind of like a checklist that they go down to see which child they can target, which child is very vulnerable. Exactly. Or they come from an abusive home that they're trying to run away from the home. Or as you just heard right now, this girl just said that she was being essayed by her father, by her stepfather. She was an immigrant and she needed money. 3 different things that made her very, very, very vulnerable. If a child has a good support system, has a home that can protect that child, right? A lot of times, of course, this is not to say that the child's not going to be essayed or that predators are not going to go after that child too, but they're specifically going to go after children where they know they can get away with it. If a predator knows that they can get away from with what they do to a child, if they know that they can manipulate the child into being groomed by them, if they know that the child has some type of needs that need to be fulfilled, a parental, the girl yesterday, we read her report. She said that she was finding she was filling up a parental void that she had through Epstein. But then when she realized that to Epstein, she was nothing more than just an object, that shattered her. So that's what I mean by predators specifically target vulnerable children, because that's just their, that's what they do.
He would have one of his secretaries do it. So he would see me, I'd say 2-3 times a week in the beginning, because...
I'm sorry. What if they're anti-abortion rights because they want more vulnerable children for their trafficking rings? This is something that I've always thought about. These people who are in power, like just generally in the West. They want to prevent people from getting an abortion, especially even maybe families or mothers that cannot take care of the child. Maybe the kid is probably going to go up get into foster care. They want to keep these kids in poverty so that they can also prey on the kids.
Because when he has somebody new in his life, he likes to see them a lot. So I went there a whole bunch of times and, it led to, unfortunately, he forced me to have sex with him, basically. I really had no choice.
You would describe it as rape.
It's weird because it wasn't like he raped me, but he
You were 14.
I didn't go in there thinking that it was going to end up like this. He was a brain surgeon and he had connections with, Victoria's Secret. So I thought that if I just played along, that I wouldn't be this immigrant from Brazil, and that I would have something to look forward to,
Over time, how much money would you say you got from Jeffrey Epstein?
I don't know. But I definitely, I used to see him 2-3 times a week. That's almost $900, $1,000, right?
Did he ever ask you to bring your friends or recruit?
He did, eventually. He did. But he definitely didn't want anybody older than 18. 17 was really a cutoff line for him.
17 was a cutoff line for him. I'm sorry, this is disgusting.
In 2008, about 1 year after she last saw Epstein, Marina was approached by the FBI about their case on Epstein and spoke to a lawyer that she says Epstein provided.
I went to his office. When I got there, I was like, should I say the truth? Should I be honest? He was like, you need to be very honest. You need to be very honest about everything. You need to speak the truth. So how am I going to speak the truth if Jeffrey hired this lawyer for me and he's the abuser of many women, right? So I did speak the truth because he told me to. And I left And he's like, we'll be in touch. I don't remember him calling. I just remember it going away. Just like it never happened.
Nothing ever happened.
Nothing. I really thought he was going to be scared and stop because I got subpoenaed and he almost went to jail.
When did you realize that your testimony was so critical, leading ultimately to Epstein's arrest?
It didn't hit me until yesterday.
It took years after Marina Lacerda's initial contact with the FBI for Epstein to be arrested. When did you realize that your testimony was so critical, leading ultimately to Epstein's arrest?
I think recently,
Somebody said it's like he wanted to be arrested. I don't think that's the case. I think it was a game for him. I think it was a game to show people how powerful he was. It's like a power play. It was like, look, you can say whatever you want to say about me and I won't get held accountable. I think that is why he was kind of reckless and sloppy. Because he got away with it for so long and he wanted to show control. Because that's what it is with a lot of like these billionaires. They want to show control over people. And in fact, he's right. He did get away with it. He was above the law. He got away with it for decades.
Didn't know that, I just found out that I was victim number one. I had no idea, to be honest with you. A lot of the things I think that were supposed to be protected, in 2007, 2008, it didn't happen with the FBI. So I think my name just got thrown around everywhere and I didn't know that. So I didn't find out until now and I'm still trying to process that, to be honest with you.
You and I were discussing earlier, you have a young daughter. Have you shared any of your story with her?
I had to tell her because I'm out here speaking and I ran away from it in 2008. I ran away from it in 2019.
Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the gift. What was the question that she asked her? I didn't pay attention. Hold on.
We were discussing earlier, you have a young daughter. Have you shared any of your...
Oh, no. Imagine how terrifying it is for them to have a young daughter. Thank you so much for the gifts. Imagine how terrifying it is for them to have a young daughter. Imagine how mortified they must be to prevent their daughters from experiencing the same things that they experienced and having to tell their daughters what they've experienced.
Your story with her?
I had to tell her because I'm out here speaking and I ran away from it in 2008. I ran away from it in 2019. There's nothing in life that stays under the sun. It always comes out to light. So I did tell her, and that was tough. But she's so little and so naive. She's like, she's like, Mom, you're such a badass. I'm sorry, give me a minute.
Oh, sure. Do you think that the Epstein files should be released to the public?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we are all done.
In 2019, Epstein was charged with trafficking and abusing underage girls. Those girls, now women, are coming forward and sharing their stories.
Jonalisa Jones, Shantae Davies, Courtney Weil, Anushka DeGiorgio, Lisa Phillips,
Haley Robson,
Marina Lacerda.
If you all each had one word or a sentence, how would you describe Jeffrey Epstein?
A master manipulator, a charismatic monster.
It's hard with one word because to become a master manipulator, you have to be lots of things to lots of people, and you have to be that person who's all things to all people. And he was very charismatic. He could be very charming. He could be very cruel. He could be whatever the situation called for. And that's why it was so terrifying, because he seemed to be all powerful.
Years after his death, Epstein's alleged crimes have continued to be the subject of intense bipartisan scrutiny. especially now as the Trump administration finds itself in the midst of a firestorm over its decision not to release any additional investigative files on Epstein after initially promising to produce this.
Why is this man so orange? I've always asked myself that question. Why is he so fucking orange?
So-called client list of people connected to Epstein who may have participated in illegal acts. Right after you all finished that press conference that you had on the steps of the Capitol, in the Oval Office, Donald Trump was asked about his reaction. The president said, "This is a Democrat hoax that never ends, trying to get people to talk about..."
I'm so sorry. He called it a Democrat hoax. Of course he's going to say that because, you know, he doesn't want to be exposed.
About something that is totally irrelevant to the success of our country. Just want to get your reaction to that.
I am a Republican. I voted for you. Don't do that. Party affiliation should never matter. The whole purpose of me pointing out that I was a Republican is because I knew exactly what this would bring.
Wait, hold on. Why did she vote for him? Wait. Hold on. Why did she vote for Trump knowing full well that Trump was friends with Epstein? She's a survivor of Epstein.
I knew exactly the digs and, they must be Democrat, they must be on this side. This is not a political war. This is about young women that were molested and abused and then lied to, gaslit, and had their trauma weaponized on them for political gain. I will be more than happy to meet him halfway. I will come to him if he needs me to. I would love to sit down so he can look me in my face and tell me that I'm a hoax. This is very real. All these women and these people have sacrificed an incredible amount of time, energy, and patience, and our patients are wearing thin.
By show of hands, who's satisfied at this point, up to this day, with the current administration's reaction to the Epstein case? No one is satisfied. What would bring about satisfaction?
Pass this bill. Transparency, full transparency.
Lisa, let's talk about your encounters with Epstein. Can you share about his grip that you described Epstein having on the modeling industry?
After I was abused on the island, I didn't speak to him for months and months, and his secretaries called me every day. But he was like, "Oh, I've got you. You know, I'm great friends with this, owner of the big agency that everybody wanted to be with at that time." That I was going out to these parties and charity events and involved in his world. But he never let me forget that he helped me out. So it wasn't until 4 years later I was basically able to escape and move from New York to Los Angeles to get away.
You have talked about how it was layered to a point where you almost didn't think of it as abuse.
I was so confused over it for many years because back then people looked at him like he was mysterious. He wasn't a playboy and out there, but everyone looked at him with respect. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't until he passed away and the survivors started speaking out where I realized that some of the men he had sent me to, which I thought were just business relationships, many other women were sent to the same man. Mm. I was going through a lot of turmoil over it and then trying to suppress it. Mm. So a lot of this has come about for me in the last few years.
Epstein is estimated to have abused a large number of girls. The Epstein Victims Compensation Fund paid out more than $120 million to 136 survivors. Another 52 women filed and privately settled claims. We see 7 survivors.
There are much more than 100 survivors because that one single girl alone in the file said that she brought him over 100 minors. In one of the papers, she said she brought him over 100 minors. So it is much, much more victims or survivors.
Survivors here today. Brad or Brittany, can you give us a sense of how many young women you can say for sure are survivors of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would say we know the names, identities of over 300 safely, and that's...
They know the names and identities of over 300. Now imagine all the girls that were abused in all the different countries he went to. He went to different countries in Africa. He went to different countries in Asia. He was in Thailand. He was in Brazil. He was in the Virgin Islands. Now imagine all those girls in the Caribbean. All those girls who are not accounted for.
It's probably half.
And 250 of those who one of us has personally spoken with to confirm they're in fact victims.
With regard to the interactions that you had with Ghislaine Maxwell, what has been your response to the DOJ going and talking with her, to her being put into a minimum security camp, and even in talks about, potentially her being pardoned?
She has lied repeatedly since I've known her, and I knew Ghislaine Maxwell very, very well for many, many years. So I really think there are not many people out there who are taking what Ghislaine Maxwell says seriously. But it's now the responsibility, once again, of Congress to put in the action. She was 100% involved. She was complicit. She was enabling. She was enmeshed with Jeffrey Epstein. She would come up with ideas of how to please him so that she would have her needs met. And that often involved her participating in different schemes of abuse and coming up with the specific ideas of how to abuse us.
Yeah, I'll just kind of add to that it's especially scary for me because she's literally 2 hours from where I live now. And so I have had quite a few nightmares, if I'm honest, since she's been transferred. I guess my answer is that I still feel fearful of her, to be honest. I think she's I know she's a very calculated person, and I don't feel like she's going to be where she is very long. She's probably going to get out somehow.
Ghislaine Maxwell is serving 20 years for sex trafficking, but has proclaimed her innocence, insisting she did not witness any inappropriate behavior by any of Epstein's powerful friends, and said a long...
Oh, thank you, Ian, for the raid. Appreciate you.
...rumored list of Epstein's high-profile clients does not exist. By show of hands, is there anybody who would support Ghislaine Maxwell getting out of prison?
Only if I'm there when she gets out. And we can show up collectively.
Lisa, just share with us what you've discussed today about the potential release of names.
Several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. Yes. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors.
Well, I was just saying, if they're not going to release it, then we're going to compile our own list. And just speaking to not just us survivors that have come forward, but many others that are silent, that have answers and are scared.
I think it's safe to say that any person who has been sexually abused, assaulted, harassed, quite often there's fear in coming forward and using your voice. Is there an added level of fear with regard to Epstein and some of the celebrity or well-known powerful people who are involved here?
Of course there is.
Absolutely.
I'm probably more afraid of the people we don't know about.
Yeah.
Isn't it yesterday that people are probably afraid of the people that like folks don't know about? You know, all the nameless billionaires, the multi-millionaires, the ones who are in like the background, the ones who are not very known, the game developers, the academics. You know, I personally think those people are much, much scarier because they could literally be roaming around you and you don't even know them. That's the scariest part, you know? Like all these other people, they have a name, you know, you can name and shame, you know who they are, their face, all those different things. But all those nameless people, the philanthropists, the ones who invest, the foundation owners. Like, they could literally be around you and you wouldn't know. Right?
The people you don't know about, the people who know that they may be on any kind of list that
people
is.
who are purposely trying to get that list to stay away or not be on that list. That's who scares me.
Because the more you speak out, the more harassed you get and stalked online. And I mean, you've had people following you.
Oh, yeah. How many of you have daughters? And how? Yes, also?
Children.
Sons, okay. How has motherhood changed your outlook, your perspective on what you've endured, what you suffered through?
I'm overbearing. I'm overbearing and controlling.
But I mean, I've been in like tug of war handoffs with her at her daycare when she was younger because I thought that there was just one man in the building, and just hearing that there was a man in the building, I literally had a panic attack and could not even hand her over to the school. And as far as like I'm a single parent, and my dating life, I don't think I'd ever be able to trust a man in the house with her ever.
I think it's also hard to even family members, you know, at least for me. You know, I don't know about everybody. I don't, sad to say, sometimes, my daughter will be in the pool and one of the family members who's a male will get in, and I'm like, whoa, like he's flipping her, like this is not okay. So I think it also, not only, in the dating perspective, but also our family members, we're not able to trust them too.
When my daughter was born, I looked at her and I saw who I used to be. And suddenly that was my job. My job was to protect her. And part of protecting my child and all our children is to speak up. With every year she grows, I become more committed to this journey of teaching her boundaries, teaching her how to keep herself safe, empowering her with her voice, with her ability to speak up.
Would anybody say that they feel that they're at the point of being healed?
Nobody can go through what we went through and ever be over it. You don't get over it. You just learn healthier coping mechanisms that help you get through the triggers, that help you get through the depression, the sleepless nights, the nightmares. I'm 48 years old and my abuse started at the age of 17. So it's a long time. It's a long time to have this information and keep it secret because you're scared, and I was scared.
I thought that we were really getting somewhere in 2019. I really thought that we were about to take down everyone. We were on fire. We were on fire.
Can we just go by row, and we'll start with you, Lisa, with what justice would look like for you?
For me, it's just accountability. I just am just in shock still that there isn't any accountability. The names that I know and many of us know haven't been announced.
I'm looking for transparency. I'm looking for this bill to be passed.
I think signing the bill is mandatory to start our healing process. Yeah, I would kind of echo what they've said also, is transparency and not having to live my life immersed in this trauma every single day.
I mean, the four of them have already said it so perfect. It is accountability. We need accountability and transparency. Understand that we're humans and we shouldn't have even had to have done this.
I agree with everyone. I think the big thing here is transparency and healing and passing the bill. Those are three main things.
We keep helping and we keep using our voice. And that to me is enough. Just to have another woman say, I found strength within you to come out for myself. That is justice. And when we're done with this, there is going to be a totally new generation of women that are not to be played with.
Thank you all so much. I know this is not easy, and we're just so grateful that you trusted us with your stories. So thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. That was crazy. It was actually crazy. I don't even know what to say. I feel like hearing their stories made me think which of their stories did we read? That's what I think. To any person who is a survivor, who has experienced any of these things, just wanted to say, I see you, I hear you, you're valued, I believe you 100%. If you can, please get professional help, therapy, some type of professional help. You don't have to deal with this on your own. And if you don't have the privilege maybe of getting professional help, then I hope that you have a strong support system around you that embraces you and all of you when you need some grace and empathy to carry you through your triggers. So it's not your fault. Don't feel guilty about it. Yeah, just wanted to say that. I'm going to be live again at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. German time. And I will be going through even more files tomorrow. I've been going live every day for like 4 hours, going through all of these different files. No, I cannot remove the redacted parts because I've tried copying and pasting and it didn't work. So, yeah. Before we end it though, I did want to show you guys one thing. Okay. This is something that is not to do with Epstein, but to do with billionaires, right? It's to do with billionaires, right? There's a full article on this, by the way. It's to do with how these billionaires who are violating these children are participating in genocides abroad. And this is not surprising, by the way. This doesn't surprise me at all. Because if they don't care about their own children, why would they care about genocides abroad? Because the money that they're getting, you have to understand, they're getting the money by exploiting people. That's how they're getting the money. They're getting rich off of exploitation, whether it is lower income communities within the West or the US, or whether it is lower income communities or underprivileged or overexploited communities in other countries, right? So one of the things that I really want to highlight is I want to show y'all a video before I end.
We got ground.
And this is a video of an attack in Sudan. And I'll tell you guys how you guys can help. Okay? So this is from an attack
photos
in Sudan. And this is Dr. Nathaniel Raymond explaining basically how Sudanese people are getting genocided.
From El Janaina pretty early on in the killing that we had not made public. We got ground photos from El Janaina pretty early on in the killing that we had not made public. And that became very important because we were using them to measure the bodies because there were so many body piles of Mausolete men and boys. They basically caught this one neighborhood and blocked it off. And they raped the women and the girls, but the women and the girls would gather the bodies and put them in basically a mausoleum they created out of a schoolhouse. And so we could navigate and follow the RSF killing from space using the body piles as navigation points. They were killing so many. And so we got very good measurement that the average dead Mausolete boy was 1.3 meters and dead Mausolete man was 2 meters in 30 centimeter very high resolution satellite imagery. And so we then detect through NASA sensors thermal plumes exploding to the north and a little bit to the south, but mostly the north-northwest. Serba, the village of Serba goes up. We watch that from space as they attack like hyenas. They come in on one side to lead the people in one direction, and they attack from the other direction very closely. And so what I'm saying is we assessed at that point for the US government that the RSF was using the fighting the capital to finish the Darfur genocide, beginning with the Mausolete. And we sent a very important secret warning saying that Al-Fashir would likely be under attack by the end of the 2023-2024 dry season. So we sent a message to the U.S. government that in the Intelligence Council that Al-Fashir was going to be under attack probably at earliest November 23 into the beginning of 24. And we briefed the UN Security Council in private session in July 2023. So we were 2.5 years from the massacre in Al-Fashir that would happen on October 26th until now. And so we had 2.5 years of warning. And we could see from how they were moving the forces out of Janina, they were attacking the critical SAF garrisons, but also the communities around Zelenji, Nyala, Kas, Armada, the Bulbul massacre. And so they were basically creating this net that the focus was Al-Fashir. And the reason why Al-Fashir was so important, to go back to the first genocide, is that the Zagawa in the fore, really because of, in a way, success of UN peacekeeping, Al-Fashir, you have Al-Salam, Abu Shuk, and most importantly, Zamzam camp, 12 kilometers to the south. So on one hand, they go into the safe haven and they become sitting ducks. And so we could see by the time we get to the spring of 2024, so we sat the siege watching from space for 18 months. The siege lasted 18 months. I want to put this in perspective. Al-Fashir was under siege for 3.5 times Stalingrad, and 3/4 the siege of Leningrad during World War II. Gaza was under IPC-5 for I think a month to 2 months, correct me if I'm wrong. We were under IPC-5 in Al-Fashir, integrated phase classification level 5, highest level of famine, for 15 months. Okay, 15 months. And now that the massacre has happened, the city has fallen to the RSF. The aid workers that we talked to, and this is a good lead-in to my friend, that those who have arrived in Tawila, which Nick mentioned, which is the last safe haven out of Al-Fashir, those very few that have arrived have one of the highest rates of malnutrition we have ever recorded in my knowledge as a humanitarian. And who arrived out of the massacre? It was women and unaccompanied minor children. Why? Because they were killing the men and boys at a berm. They built a wall around Al-Fashir by the fall of this past year that we were the first to catch it. It was 9 feet high, and they had bulldozers working around the clock in backhoes, 37 kilometers long. They created a kill box, and they walled in the remaining 4 in the Zagawa in the city, and basically the last major battle to date of the Darfur genocide. And when it fell, we could see the street filled overnight with 1.3 meter to 2 meter objects, and they were in C shape, J shape, or L shape. That's because when you shoot someone and you look at them from space when they get shot, they'll fall in the fetal position or on their knees. And so we saw trucks with 50 cal machine guns, and we would see 0.5 meter red discoloration on the ground, and that was blood. And we think we got a call. This is where I'll end. We had a ground network. We think they're all dead now. Our ground guys call us on Monday after the fall, and in the morning they say 1,200 of our family members and friends are dead. By that evening, they say 10,000. By Tuesday, we never got them on the phone again.
10,000 in just 2 days or something. And this is the last clip I want to show y'all, which is of a survivor, a Sudanese woman.
Fled Al-Fashir after it.
And she fled Al-Fashir, which is a city. I want to show you guys this.
Inaya Abdullah fled Al-Fashir after it fell under RSF control. She says she escaped with her pregnant sister, leaving her husband behind, but the RSF stopped them on the outskirts of the city as her sister went into labor.
They asked my sister if she gave birth to a girl or a boy. She said it was a girl. They held the baby and said it's a boy. Then they went and brought wood, lit it, and boiled water and put the baby inside. The baby died. My sister died shortly after out of heartache. And my husband has been missing ever since. He didn't come with us. We don't know where he is.
They boiled the baby. To people asking how is this related to Epstein, it's not related to Epstein. I ended that part of the live, and I said I was going to continue the Epstein file live tomorrow. But towards the end of the live, before I end, I wanted to highlight some stories that I think are important to me, right? And I think are very, very important. And they're related in a sense that rich people, the ultra rich, the 1%, are making money off of people like this. That's how it's related. They're making money off of the exploitation of people, vulnerable people who have nothing to do with anything. And while they're making money off of that, they're using that money to violate children. Because ask yourself that question. Where did they get all that money from? Where did they get all that money from? All these rich, ultra, multi-billionaires. The money that they have to be able to violate children, rape children, unalive children, right? And then be able to pay that off. This is where they're getting the money from. And yes, Africans are still being sold into slavery. The slave trade did not end. The slave trade did not end. And you guys hear me talking about the slave trade in Libya, the slave trade in Egypt, and I am in a way sure that the people who are doing the organ harvesting there is probably being sold into these networks. Kendrick Johnson in America, the African-American kid, the 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid who was found rolled up in a gym mat, where was his organs? You know, his family got his body back with like just newspapers in his body. Where were the organs? Who took those organs? Right? The fact that Black people on a global scale, not only Black people, right? Not only Black people, but like people on a global scale are having their organs harvested, are being genocided, so that these 1%ers are able to rape children and get away with it. That is where they get their money from. And this is what makes the whole system sick. It makes the whole system sick. And that's why I wanted to highlight one of the ways that people are literally actively getting rich to then subject children to violence and then get away with that violence. Right? Now this woman, this Sudanese woman, has absolutely nothing to do. She hasn't posed a danger to the US. She doesn't pose a danger. She's a young woman. She's in her 20s. She absolutely did nothing. She was minding her business in her own country. And yet, oh, I didn't mean to send in an invitation. My bad, y'all. Did not mean to send an invitation. But she was minding her own business in her own country, and people decided to destroy her country so they could use the money to rape children. That is the cycle. That is literally the cycle. Women like her, whose sister had her baby boiled in water. Okay? Boiled. She's having her nephew, right? That was her nephew. Her nephew boiled in water so that people who are the ultra rich, like in the ones in the Epstein files, can continue acquiring more money so they can use that money to violate more children. And the fact that people are not outraged by this, to me, is crazy. The fact that more people are not talking about this, to me, is crazy. And that's why I brought it up. I brought it up because it is tied to the story. And not only is it tied to the story, I brought it up to highlight the very real harm that is actively caused. Right? Brought up to highlight the very real harm that is being caused to people who are minding their business. This whole system of exploitation is very, very connected on a global scale. If you think that this is somehow isolated only to the US or only to the West, you are 100% mistaken. This global exploitation is all linked, right? It's all linked. And on top, just a couple people, couple hundreds of people, like the ultra rich, couple people are there. Why is Elon Musk that rich? Why is Mark Zuckerberg that rich? Why is Donald Trump that rich? Why are the Clintons that rich? Why are all these people so ultra rich that they can literally get away with murder? The average person doesn't get away with murder. Right? Exactly. There are no ethical billionaires. There is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. The only reason a person is a billionaire is because they're actively exploiting somebody and they're stealing resources from somebody. That's the only reason why somebody's a billionaire. No ethical billionaire, right? So, I wanted to highlight this story. There is an amazing initiative that is run by, started by Sudanese people that is actively helping Sudanese people on the ground. It's called Darfur IDP. It's in the link tree in my bio. I have some amazing initiatives. I have some Sudanese initiatives. I have Congolese initiatives. I have Haitian initiatives, and Eritrean initiatives as well, right? Just wanted to say, if you feel like you have some money to donate, these are the initiatives that I really want to highlight. These are initiatives that are transparent. They are grassroots initiatives. They are run by people from those countries. And if you cannot donate, you can also share them around. You got a family WhatsApp group? Share it in that family WhatsApp group. You got a, I don't know, like anywhere. You got any type of like communication with your friends? Share it. If you cannot donate, maybe you know somebody who has enough money to donate. Right? I don't know. But if you want to support people on the ground, or if you know somebody who could support people on the ground, even if it's just $1, this is existential for people on the ground. I don't work with these initiatives, by the way. These are just initiatives that I have seen do amazing work. And I personally believe they really need to be highlighted. Amazing initiatives. So for that reason, I'm highlighting them by putting the link tree in my bio. Also, if you want, you can just share my whole link tree. That's also a thing. You can just share my link tree. All of them are in the link tree in my bio. That's why I was showing you these videos, by the way. And I appreciate y'all. I am gonna go back live tomorrow. And I am going to be talking about, again, the Epstein files. Exactly. You need to educate yourself about the system as a whole. System as a whole. Stop saying this is the left, this is the right, Repub, Dem, left wing, right wing, but it's these people, this people. No. Educate yourself about the whole system. Educate yourself about the whole system. Educate yourself about how you are actively being used as literal cannon fodder to uphold the system. A system that literally exploits you too. Exploits your children as well, by the way. Anyways, I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. I hope everybody is doing well. I am going to end my live and I will see y'all tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Oh, I'm going to be uploading all of these videos online, by the way. All of these videos will be uploaded online. I will see y'all tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. German time, so European time, Central European time. Take care of yourselves, do something kind for yourselves. Have a good
What happened to you? Just a second ago, you were melting my heart.
Yeah, I know. I liked her smile.